Oh, no, you can stop.
What's the matter?
I just had an ad playing. And then there's me playing. Hello. Heavens. It's like some sort of weird loop. Hey everyone, welcome to That Pelter Show. Viewers, comments and questions live. Dan here. I'm going to roll up onto the sidewalk and have a look at. Wow. She's beautiful. I'm talking about a Yankee Rose. I think we just end it there.
I think so.
It doesn't get any better than that.
We'll see you next week.
Yep, brilliant. Just in that first 5 seconds, we had a drastic drop in viewers. Wicked. Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Let's do some just some quick housekeeping.
Some hellos.
Hellos.
Hello.
Massive thank you to BV for looking after us this week, and also for looking after us on Facebook. He sorted out our Facebook shenanigans this week.
Did we have some Facebook
We
shenanigans?
had shenanigans.
What kind of shenanigan?
We had a That Pelter Show fans group,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. It was started up by someone else,
Right.
and I don't know if we did something that they didn't like or whatever, but they decided to disassociate from us.
Oh.
And they changed the name.
Oh.
But BV has started up a proper pucker Facebook group for us.
So that pedal show Facebook group as was now no longer exists.
It now exists as a pedal fan page.
So it's new, is it?
No, they just changed the name.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you for anyone who is there, and obviously an ongoing thanks to BV for your amazing work. I don't do Facebook, so I have no idea.
Yeah. He was a superstar this week.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep. Amazing.
Indeed. Yes. Quick housekeeping. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. We like it. It's good. We like it. Also, big thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpeltershowstore.com and grabbed some of our new Christmas teas.
Yes, we have been forced by the store staff, that being Catherine, to wear the new Christmas tee, and you can see the sheer genius that's gone into the design here.
Can you jump up?
I
Because
will.
it's so good. It's so good.
Dan will give you a running commentary. So imagine I'm Linda Evangelista walking down the catwalk.
Oh yes, and here comes Michael.
One foot in front of the other, isn't it?
Here comes Michael wearing the latest in summer fashion from thatpeltershowstore.com. Oh yes, I can see he's got his 2-knob fuzz face on there. Oh, a lovely he's managed to stay upright during that turn. Very impressive for someone of his depleted cognitive abilities. So, Michael there showing his experience. He really is the owner of these fair runways. There we go.
One foot in front of the other, Dan. That's what I know about modelling.
That's right.
Yeah, so I know it's not Christmas yet. It's only... I have a ban on Christmas before November. Strictly speaking, in the house before December. But obviously we have to ship around the world. So if you are bored of your seasonal garment, as I am, been wearing the same one for about 5 years, we've put this... I mean, it could be a reindeer. Probably is a reindeer because it has but it looks a little bit like a dog as well, which I'm happy about.
But it's a reindeer. It's got reindeer antennae and could poop patch cables.
I'm just sort of emotionally closer to the canine than I am the bovine.
There's a reindeer bovine
I assume
species.
so.
Okay.
Hoofed in it.
Okay. Oh,
Please put us right if it's not. Catherine
That's
and I
why the
had
people come, Mick.
Catherine and I had one of those weird 2 a.m. conversations. I was like, bing, hang on a minute. I didn't know the order of things. So what are rats? We know they're mammals, right?
Okay.
But what classification are they in the strata?
Okay. In the
so half an
there we
hour of
go.
Wikipedia later, we had it sorted.
Did you get to platypi? Because when you get there, so it's just everything ends.
These are the things that keep us awake. Welcome. How's it going, says Johnny Love. It's going great, Johnny. Jeff Roper, hello from colourful Colorado.
Yes,
Hello to
roll
Colorado.
call. Where's everyone coming in from?
Charlotte, NC USA.
Keith Johns says, T-shirt, work of genius, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. It was
I'm going to pretend I had anything to do with it.
predominantly my idea, brought to fruition by our design friend Rob.
He's so good.
Yeah, he is.
Is Rob?
He
He's
is.
so good, is Rob.
He is. That was Stax who said hello from Charlotte, by the way.
Brett Grove, hello from Minneapolis.
Ah, we went there.
We went there.
We had
So
a lovely
good.
time in
We did.
Minneapolis.
The world's largest department store, mall, whatever it is.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Had a giant Lego Tyrannosaurus Rex, didn't it?
The
Remember
Lego
that?
is amazing. It
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
And I had those pork chops there. Do you remember those things? They were like
Oh, yeah.
bigger
yeah.
than my head.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was a challenge.
And that's when I first realised the gap between like Diplodocus and Tyrannosaurus was longer than between Tyrannosaurus and humans.
Really?
Or something like that, yeah.
Well, when my pork chops came out,
Yeah.
that's when you realised.
Dinosaurs existed for like way longer than
My pork chops.
like millions of years or something. Anyway, or billions, I can't remember. It's too many noughts. Long
Okay.
time anyway. Till the meteor, of course. Jeff Engelbert says, gents, I know you've talked a lot about the Dumble style pedals. Have you ever tried the Jetta Gear 124? I haven't, but I did love the one they did for David Grissom there for a minute.
Right.
The Jetta pedals, yeah.
I've got a Jetta pedal.
Have you?
Somewhere,
What
yeah.
is it? Is it the 124, Dan?
I think it might be. I'll have a look.
Nice. It's really, we should do a whole show on the Dumble thing because,
Oh, we've just got some new stuff in as well. Some new Dumble things in.
yeah, half the world sort of think the Dumble sound is one thing, and anyone who's actually played one or stood
Yeah.
next to one knows that it's something quite different. And it's, I find it very interesting, that whole debate.
Eric Filsinger says, what's up with the drum set?
Ah,
Ha!
well,
Ye of keen eye.
we actually have started. We did a bit of a test on Tuesday. We didn't have much of a plan. We got Dougie in.
We did. Man, Dougie,
And
he was so good.
We
He's
did
such a lovely boy.
We did two things. We want to do a pedal jams format, which is, people actually playing. Well, I don't want to say music, but people actually playing
It is music. It's okay to say it's music.
Muzak, shall we say?
Okay,
There's no
Muzak.
singing, so it's not.
Muzak.
Anyway, and it's good fun, and it sounds good.
Muzak lady.
Dan and I pretended to play the bass while the other one played the guitar, and Dougie played the drums in a professional manner.
He did.
And it sounds pretty good, actually, for pedal jams. So it's a good chance to hear stuff in situ, as it were. Plus, we actually did a show. We just did a whole show on gain tones used alongside bass and drums. It's really blimmin' interesting.
Fascinating.
So that's why the drum kit.
Yeah. Yeah. Plexico says, Christmas t-shirt ordered. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Plexico.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Gregory Lutt says, hello from Mississippi.
Hello to Mississippi. Gordon Rankin's on. Hello, Gordon.
Hey,
He says,
mate.
is this the Telecaster show? Someone else said that the Isbell Telly looked very nice. That was Hayden Brown. Thanks, Hayden. It's such a cool guitar.
Yeah.
Hello
wonderful.
from Winnipeg, says White Rhino.
Jiminy Cricket says, Wales, in it.
How do I make my flanger sound like a phaser? Is it possible?
How do you make it what?
Flanger sound like a phaser?
No.
No. It's a different thing.
Can't get, yeah, way too.
Yeah. For anyone confused about the time, I suppose the whole of the UK, I'm not sure. Anyway, England has gone to non-daylight saving or daylight saving. I don't know which way around it is. It's an hour earlier than it usually is.
Okay.
The clocks went back an hour on Saturday night.
Right. KJ Fider says, cheers from the Big Apple. I love the Big Apple.
Me
It's
too.
my favourite place in the world, and I would move there tomorrow if it was at all possible. Darren Delaney says, good morning from Big Lake, Alaska. That is somewhere I would love to go.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Ice Road Truckers as it goes.
Excellent.
Yeah. John has got 1,300 miles to do across the ice. Will he? Oh, yeah, he made it. That's basically the script of Ice Road Truckers if you've never watched it.
Very good.
Hello from Columbia, Missouri, says Joe Lewis. Hello, Joe Lewis. Very much enjoyed you smacking people in the face. Was that Joe Lewis? Was there a famous box?
Sure there was.
Joe Lewis?
Yeah.
Probably not spelt like that.
That coffee.
Darren O'Toole says, I wonder why there's no love for Rickenbackers on the channel. Seems like a big omission when talking about bands with heritage. Brands and bands with heritage. I got an 80s 360 recently. I love it. Never bonded with a non-Fender before. We have done one show on Rickenbackers where Daniel's friend David Gregory came in.
My bud. My mate.
From the bands XTC and Big Train and just general guitar awesomeness. And he brought...
He's in a band called Tin Spirits as well.
Oh, yeah. He was in a band with Dan. And he brought a bunch in and we sort of went through it. Have you ever owned one?
No.
No, nor me.
They're amazing. They're such a specific sound. It's like...
Yeah.
You can... obviously some magnificent guitar sounds come out of it. I've just never needed that Rickenbacker thing.
Yeah. It is interesting because there was a minute there you just heard him on absolutely everything.
Yeah.
It was always like it was always layered in with something.
Yeah.
And certainly in a lot of Americana type music that I listen to, you really hear them a lot. I guess, we should acquire one. I guess it's one of those things that's sort of all the things you want, it's like the third one. So it doesn't qualify for the... But yeah, I mean, you're totally right. Talk about blooming historic sound and of massive importance in rock and roll music, right across the genres, for that matter. I mean, but even before we get into the basses. So yeah, maybe we could put that right someday, Darren. Right, I think we should probably begin, Daniel, with the old questiones. Turn my brightness down.
Oh, the USA changes on the 8th of November, apparently, time-wise.
Always got to be different. Yeah, there's lots of calls to abolish it. There have been for years.
It's weird. I mean, I get it, but you can...
Yeah, I appreciate the extra light in the morning.
Yeah.
But it really annoys me not having the light at the end of the day, so...
Yeah. I mean, we could just deal with seasons like humans have been doing for thousands of years.
Hundreds of thousands of years.
Hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Have you finished the book?
No.
Okay.
I got too depressed. I needed to feel better before I could get on with it again.
Right.
Sapiens, or Sapiens, Daniel has recommended to me, which I've been enjoying greatly, but it is really depressing. So,
Oh, BB says Josh is in the air as we speak. That would be Josh Smith.
Yeah, he's got some gigs here next week. Yeah.
I think I'm going to head down to Southampton and see him.
Nice.
Yeah, because I really want to see him.
Nice. Right, where are we?
And Paul and come on, why does my brain do this?
Give me a clue.
Guitar player plays. Paul recorded the album. We just had a look at played his fuzz pedal last week. Scott McKeon is playing as well.
Nice.
Yeah,
definitely do
so
that.
I really, really want to head down there and see that.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's weird. We'll get to it. Matt Lloyd.
Hello, hey, Matt.
Nice to hear from you. He says, and thank you for your generosity, Matt. He says, hey guys, I want to make sure I understand Dan's idea from Friday's show. Are you choosing two complementary amps and building two separate pedal boards, one for each amp, designed to bring out what the amps add to the equation?
That is one way that you can do it. The idea is...
No is the answer.
Okay, right. Simply, the idea is it's understanding how gain stages and understanding how the amps work as part of that gain stage. So, for example, if I've got my Lazy J and that's turned up and that's crunching really nice, I don't necessarily need to send an overdrive to that. Whereas I could send an overdrive to the Matchless, which has a lot more headroom. And by mixing and matching those sorts of things, you end up with this palette of sounds, which to me is just flippin' amazing. And then by using the driven amp as basically central to the tone, and I can send boost pedals and things to that amplifier, but I've got to be really specific about the things I send to it. You can think of it as two separate boards, but it's, I still want to be able to send my boost pedals into both amplifiers and that sort of stuff. So it's just where I split, really.
Yeah.
It's just about where I split.
I always think the glasses of water analogy works. So think of your amps as glasses of water. And if in the normal world, I say the normal world, like the normal way that Dan and I would approach wet dry, and the way I still approach wet dry, is my 2 amps are more or less the same amount of gain. And let's say that's 2/3 full on the glass. So when I add in more gain from an overdrive pedal, they both go up roughly similar to the overflowing point, and then the more gain you add, you don't get anything, and you just get messiness. And Friday's video is all going to be about that, for what it's worth. In the way Dan was talking about on Friday, one of those glasses is already full of gain because the amp is overdriving significantly. So when you choose to add your overdrive, you only add it to one of those glasses. You only put more water in one of the glasses to get it up to the gain level, so that it overdrives more and more and more, so that the amp that's already overdriving keeps its character and stays nice and all that feel that you get from that. And the other amp is there to give you your sort of dynamic difference in overdrive. And then the benefit there is clarity, which hopefully you heard in the video. It is, it's really simple to explain with glasses of water, but actually it's so the shades of grey involved in that are just phenomenal, because even just adding the tiniest bit more gain can just lose you all your definition. And so it's just finding that spot. It's finding that spot where you get the harmonics and the overdrive and the sustain that you want, without it tipping over into mush that you can't hear. And I think we've all seen that wedding band. I've been in it many times.
And a really good example of that was what happened at the end of the show when we were trying to get the Princeton set up. And the first, I plugged it in and I thought, we've made the wrong choice. It doesn't work at all. But then we spent a bit of time just tweaking it to get it in the right spot, and it just came alive. Really, really interesting.
So hopefully that explains it, Matt. Same pedal board, just different amps, getting them right. Duncan Plexico. Hello, Duncan.
Hey, Duncan.
He says, hi, M&D. Mum and Dad. Hello, Mummy. Great Friday show. I'm convinced Dan is going back to the future, trying to emulate Tom Schultz's stereo rig with 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz from 1976.
Oh, yeah, come on.
It's interesting that you mentioned Tom Schultz, because our good friend Simon Green, who lent me the Strat, sent us an original Rockman, which we're trying to shoehorn into a show fairly soon. Google it if you don't know what that is. The Rockman. It was one of the first direct, no speaker devices.
Practice thing.
So
good.
James Roy. Hi, James.
More than a feeling.
Thanks for all from autumnal New York City. The best advice, says James Roy, for taming a backline twin reverb, impossibly forever headroom. I'm used to squishier, smaller amps. Okay, so he's got sounds like he's ended up with a twin reverb as backline, but it has impossibly forever headroom. Okay.
Compressor. Put a compressor with at the end of your chain and just use it as like a master volume. If it's depending on the twin, if it's one without an effects loop, you can literally do that. Sort of set up squashier characteristics with a decent sounding compressor. Just put it at the end of the chain and use it that way. A more obvious and probably better solution would be some sort of attenuator. The twins,
good overdrive pedal.
Yeah, an overdrive pedal will do the same thing actually.
Yeah, just so you can get it not too overdriven, but it depends what twin it is too. Like some of the silver face ones are really, really crazy loud, high headroom. Whereas the 65 reissue, which is the one you see most common, you can usually get away with if you just tilt it sideways, so it's not pointing at the front row and cranking it. You can sometimes get away with that. I don't know about modern club stages, but
what's the the Tweed reissue that Mr. Bottommasser has done. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that would be a Tweed twin. So whatever, I don't know what it was, 5.8
Right.
something, 5F.
Okay.
I don't know what the model designation was. That's a very different thing.
Yeah.
That that's not a
Very-
twin reveal. That's a Tweed twin.
Tweed twin.
Yeah. So I just think a decent, full range type overdrive pedal, so you can just have a little bit of overdrive and turn the master down on the pedal.
Yeah. That will work.
Nice sound, or compressor, as Dan says. I struggle with compressors because I don't like what it does to the front of the note.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for me, that. But or an attenuator, which is a pain because it depends how the speakers are plugged in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
Decent overdrive pedal, I would say.
Yeah.
Or indeed a boost. So like a real clean boost, but just turn it down. Use it as an underdrive.
Underdrive.
Yes.
It's a great shout.
But you won't get the amp cooking. If you want the amp cooking, that's got to happen after the speaker output.
Yeah. Yeah, and that way, an attenuator. If it does have a loop,
it won't if it's a
still
65.
No.
There's very few twins, but
Tricky.
most of the ones that kind of came after the Silverface era, that's where the loop started happening.
You could do that thing where you take out the outside pair of.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
I've done that in Marshalls. I've never done it with a Fender.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Good luck, James.
Good luck,
Kevin
James.
Rebong. Kevin Rebong.
Rebong.
He says, suggestions for a Maestro fuzz tone alternative. Any other suggestions for psychedelic fuzz a la Parliament, Funkadelic are welcome. Thanks, TPS.
So there was a fantastic sort of reproduction of that, and it was called the BS. Was it the BS breaker? BS Master.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a really fantastic
Yeah.
sort of reproduction of that fuzz. Really, really cool. Actually, my bass player, I was putting together his board. We got one for him for that, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah, I did hear a rumour, actually, about that particular brand just recently.
Right.
About Maestro.
Oh, yeah.
I heard a rumour about Maestro just recently. So I don't know if you
come back.
if you might want to wait for a minute.
Yeah.
The other thing is you need a phaser for that psychedelic-y, fuzzed out. And ideally you need this phaser. Is it there?
No.
Oh, it's over the
It's
other
on the
side.
other side.
It's bizarrely enough, the old Maestro phaser, which I guess they probably did as a fuzz and a phaser, did they? In one thing?
I don't know if they did.
Anyway.
Anyway, that's a super hi-fi phaser. It's really a magic thing.
I think, was it Eddie Hazel? Was that his name, the Funkadelic guitar player?
I'm going to go with yes. The Maleko BS Master. Thank you, Kurt. That's what it was.
Yeah. Eddie Hazel was definitely one of them. And he also used a Big Muff, I think, later on. So that'll do, yeah. Big Muff and a phaser will be psychedelic. Super psychedelic. Because the Maestro fuzz tone is pretty hard work.
To say the most.
One of the reasons, I don't know if you know the history, but so the fuzz tone comes out in, I don't know, whatever it was, 64, 65.
60, early 60s.
Yeah, 65, 66, I don't know. First commercially used on Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones.
That was the first hit, yeah. And then everyone heard it and went, wow.
And so then every other company that was building electronic devices for electronical guitar said, we need one of those. That's where the first phase came from. That's where the Tone Bender came from. Marshall Super Fuzz. All of the ones that just went, we'll do that.
Yeah.
But the first tone was pretty hard work. So hence the various changes to the circuit to make it less hard work. And by less hard work, we mean really flipping aggressive sounding and not very much bass.
Yeah. people are saying the jet phaser, the Roland jet phaser is a really great one, used by many notables. But I'm thinking of the MP1, the Maestro MP1 phaser. It looks like a wedge with the wheels on the side. It's just the coolest thing ever.
Nice.
But it's really hi-fi sounding phaser.
Yeah.
And so that full frequency thing that you want with the psychedelic.
Yeah.
So cool.
Because I'm guessing that Eddie probably had his phaser after the fuzz, which means you get that massive, like, well, you hear the full phase. Whereas if you stick it before the fuzz will just knock the edges off it a bit.
Yep.
But yeah. Daniel Herbert. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Daniel.
He says, epic playing on Friday, Daniel.
Ah, goodness. Thank you. That's very kind.
I'm thinking of getting a used Tweed Blues Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Would this work okay with the Princeton setup as you did on Friday? Is there anything better in this price range? I'm recording, not live.
It would work really well. The Blues Junior's got a 12-inch speaker or a 10-inch?
12.
12. Okay. And no, it would work. It will work fine.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, what I think the Blues Junior is quite good at for recording wise is some nice clean tones. I'm not a massive fan of the overdrive in the Blues Junior, but you can make it work.
Yeah.
Certainly not as lovable as the Princeton for that kind of old school. So it's really what job you want it to do, because your other option, if you want to record more quietly, is to go for something smaller like the little Supro Robert Keeley amp, and an even smaller one like a 5-watt, like a Champ type thing that you can really crank. But if you do want that sort of slightly more headroom and you're using the Princeton for the cranked, then I think Blues Junior would be a good shout.
Yeah, it will be a good shout.
Yeah, and funnily enough, I was having a chat with someone about this yesterday. Something that we've definitely learned over the years here at TPS is that it's so much easier to record small amps than big ones.
So much. Yeah.
Because the amp starts working at a lower volume. And what that means is you don't have to have your mic gained up so much, which means you don't start to stumble on all the problems of the room. Because the more you've got your mic gained up and the louder you've got the amp, the more you've got the problems of everything else that's going on. And to get the amp really, to get a bigger amp really working is obviously a bit more fatiguing on the ears if you need to be in the room with it. And it's just, I mean, I find quite often in just any sort of normal circumstance, it's easier to get a big sound out of a small amp when you're recording. So, yeah, good. Hope you enjoy that. Yeah.
Alex Rivera says the Vox AC15 kills the Blues Junior every day.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that, actually.
I
think the reverb's better. It's got tremolo in it.
If you wanted to use the Princeton as the driver sound, then the AC15 is a really good shout for the clean side.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that.
Yeah,
and I mean, if you can afford one, a deluxe reverb, because then you really do get that Fender.
Here's what you need. You need, with your Princeton, a deluxe reverb. You need an AC15.
Yeah.
Throw a matchless DC30 on top of that.
Marshall 2061.
Add the 2-rock for that. Then mix it all in with a high watt. Let's just keep.
Yeah. Hire Michael Landau to play. Good luck, Daniel.
Oh man, what a song of his came on my playlist as I was driving up here today, and I don't even know the album that well, but just from the first note, I'm like, Landau. He's just remarkable.
Yeah,
so remarkable.
He's such a great player. Okay, Bill Barfoot. We've had a missing super chat, so it's from Bill Barfoot, and he says, really enjoyed Friday's show. Thank you, Bill.
Excellent. Thanks, Bill.
I loved seeing the Lauren Audio Mustang.
Ah, my goodness.
Or as Mick says, the horsey thing.
The horsey thing.
Curious how you use it, Dan. Preamp, drive, what's happening?
It's definitely a transistor drive type thing. So the company's called Lauren Audio, and the pedal's called the Mustang, and it's like a Neve preamp style design built as an overdrive pedal. So preamp gain, master volume, and a tone. And see, I had a couple of people asking me where's the Mark II gone for my board, and what I found was with my amps set up the way they are,
the automato tone,
with my amps set up the way they are, what I need is 2, maybe 3 really specific things that will either work in conjunction with the Laser J or works with that driving sound of the Laser J. And one thing I found out about the Mustang is that transistor fuzz drive thing works incredibly well into the J when it's cranked.
Yeah.
And it'd be a similar thing to the Thorpe Warthog.
Yeah.
And it's got a real edge to it, and I need that edge, So I've got that the Page treble booster,
D&M drive,
and G&M drive, and that's basically, just those 4 things. It's like, and then everything else I'm getting here, and it's remarkable. But yeah, I was so impressed with that pedal with the Mustang. Really beautiful. And I've played a few Neve. The Neve preamp style things before, and I've always liked them, but this is the first one that I've really clicked with.
And it's before all your delays and reverbs and stuff?
Before that,
yeah. So in that sense, he's using it as an overdrive.
Yeah, really, really great.
Bill, I think that was Bill, sorry. John Elliott, hello John. He says, new pedal day. Noble's ODR1 after your recommendation. It doesn't disappoint. B-Tronics Overdrive coming tomorrow to finish off the last build.
B-Tronics, man. They are just hitting, just scoring so many goals at the moment. I was mixing up my analogies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Touchdown. Iron Wolf 1776. Hello, Iron Wolf 1776.
Hello.
I finally added a Fender Stratocaster to my collection.
Nice.
It's been an utter revelation.
Excellent.
Thanks for pushing me in this direction. Welcome to the club, Iron Wolf.
Very good.
She's a cruel mistress.
Arr. She a cruel mistress she be.
Bill, thanks again for your question. So Theodor Morlander, who I believe is from Sweden, Theodor Morlander, he says, hi, my biggest dream isn't a vast amount of money, a loving wife, or even a 59 Les Paul. It's that one day you'll get Tom Bukovac on the show. Oh, man. You 3 have been priceless to me. Just planting seeds. It just would be so great to meet with Tom. We did have the opportunity, in fact, BV introduced us to Tom during the COVID lockdown. We had the opportunity to do something with him over the interwebs, but Dan and I both it's just not the same as being in the room.
The thing is, because you only get one bite of that apple, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we want to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
We want to stalk him.
Yeah.
Until basically he relents
and lets us in.
And lets us in.
Yeah.
We're going to hire a taxi and find the vicinity and just go around with a loudhailer.
One night only.
Yep.
Lake Wazapamani.
Blues Rhythm and Blues Review. Because he's
just released a record, actually.
He has. I
haven't heard it yet, but he's released it.
He's such a remarkable guitar player, and his wealth of experience is so valuable. If you haven't subscribed to his show, go and check it out.
Homeschooling.
Yeah, it's
Tom
wonderful. So,
I think he's called 503 Chorus Echo or something, isn't he?
Right.
Something like that.
Perfect. But we're going to go to Nashville, and one of the things we're going to do while we're there is record a show with Tom.
Yeah.
I just saw this. I thought this was really funny. This is A. Ann Thompson says, Telecaster. I don't own one. Should I get one, Dan? Don't ask me.
I was going to say yes.
That's just enabling.
I mean, Dan's answer is yes, but the world answer is yes. It is hard to imagine not having a Telecaster. I mean, it is electric guitar. Telecaster is electric guitar.
Yes.
After that is Choices. Before
Very
that,
good. I like that.
A Tele is electric guitar,
yeah.
And if you don't own one, you must have one.
Yeah.
Jacob Bartelt, hello Jacob. He says, good evening guys.
G'day mate.
Great show on Friday. It got me thinking more about what to consider with different rooms you're playing in. What are some of the things we try to tweak based on the room and venue?
So important. So important.
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
By that point.
Well, it's so funny because, we'll get it sounding the best guitar sound you've ever heard in your life here. Put it in a different room. It's like, I need to do something different.
Yeah.
I
had an interesting Saturday. I did my first proper live band gig in pretty much 2 years.
You were taking it to the streets.
Yeah.
Is what you were doing.
And it was a pub gig, bunch of mates, for a private party, and just a bunch of mates we haven't played together for a long time. in fact, ever. Oh no, once. And so in the afternoon, we went to the village hall and plugged in and just had a knock through most of the set list just to make sure.
And you had people coming up to you going, "Here, why did the guitar sound so good, Lush? Sound good, Lush."
And, you know, got all me lovely CXM reverbs on and me Future Factory delays in the village hall. No idea that they're on.
Yeah.
And then I get into the pub, dead sounding pub.
And
And they sound brilliant. So I guess it's stuff like that, Jacob. You know, what's happening to your ambient sounds? Are you mic'd up? Are you not mic'd up? Because if you're mic'd up, then it all changes because you've got no control over what's going on over that. But, you know, for the standard bar room, guitar not going through the PA, Steinhardt.
that is why TPS Wet Dry works so incredibly well. If you've got a sound guy, you get your sound on stage and the sound guy can say, okay, we need more wet in this room or we need less wet in this room.
Well,
let them make that decision. You get yourself sounding just terrifying on stage, and then the sound guy can tweak it to the sound of the venue.
For that reason, I think I'm going to give up on stereo.
Yeah,
because
what I've done.
I've got my reverb and delay in stereo, and it's like, nah, it's just gets completely doesn't work in a bar band scenario, in the kind of bar bands that I play in. Bear in mind, you can guess the set list, right? And so I used 2 amps. I had the luxury of doing that, and I'm really glad I did. I thought it sounded good anyway. But the wet dry definitely is more relevant in that situation than trying to get lovely stereo reverbs and delays.
Yeah.
And, you know, sitting in this room for 2 years hearing lovely reverbs and stereo delays is like, yes.
Yeah, so good.
But then, you know, lead a drummer, hits into whatever the tune it is, lovely, big, loud Ludwig kit, starts whacking it, and I'm like, yeah, my lovely little twinkly delays are gone. It's not happening. So yeah, just bridge pickup, plenty of overdrive, plenty of volume, little bit of slapback, happy days.
I had a jam with Doug on Wednesday night with my rig as it is. Best jam I've ever had. Wrote 3 songs.
No way.
Yeah, in a couple of hours.
Because I thought that Jay was going to get lost in the band, if I'm honest, Dan, after Friday's show.
I tell you what,
no,
it really doesn't.
It works.
No, it sounds amazing.
Be interesting to see us when we're all in the room.
Yeah. No, it's lovely.
Awesome. So yeah, Matt, I think speaking from personal experience, there comes a point where, a bit like playing a guitar, I suppose, the minute the gig starts, I stop worrying about what the guitar sounds like, because I just can't think about it other than the relative volume.
Yeah.
And I have to remember what words to sing.
So true.
Try to play the right chords, try and be engaged with the music. So I guess you can do all that stuff in the sound check and just have a little tweak up. But then that's one of the reasons I love having, you know, an analog type pedal board where I can see all the knobs, because literally, if it needs to be louder, quieter, more or less distorted, bassy or treblier, it's just literally bend down, push, done.
Yep.
And I couldn't go to a multi thing where I'd have to. It just doesn't work.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, for me anyway, personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jacob, sorry, not Matt. And Jacob also asks, is it possible to run wet dry using the Strymon Iridium, and how would you do so? I'm considering going direct at my church. You certainly wouldn't be alone in that, Jacob. I think that's the standard approach for many of those environments these days.
So from memory, the Iridium it is a proper stereo input.
I think it is.
And I think there is a way that you can have 2 separate amplifiers in there as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that you can do that. And then, yeah, totally, have your, AC30 side set up dry or whatever, and then your twin or whatever other amplifier that you want to set up with the wet effects. Sounds great. Then you send a stereo feed to the sound guy, and then they can just tweak to their pleasure. And here's one we prepared earlier.
Here's the Iridium.
Is the stereo in?
No.
So I think it might be I think it might be a TRS stereo. Yeah, I think it might be. Anyway, I have to do a bit of research, but have a look at that. But there are, I mean,
Obviously, nobody prints manuals anymore.
no, there are other options. So, but yeah, the Iridium's brilliant.
Jacob, if you haven't bought it yet, check out the DSM and Humboldt Simplifier.
That's a killer thing.
If you have bought the Iridium, read the manual and see if it works. If you haven't, check out the DSM and Humboldt.
Mike has said it is stereo with a TRS. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Well done, buddy.
So there, you definitely can do that. Good luck.
Brilliant.
Tyler Kenny. Tyler, I believe we have your question thanks to the ever watchful Bev.
What a legend.
BV. Greetings from LA, says Tyler Kenny. Do you guys own a baritone? It would be fun to see you give some love to the bottom end, as it were.
Dirty minds, Michael.
No, I'm really interested in baritone guitars. They always sound fantastic.
When Rabea plays them, they always sound fantastic.
Oh, I think they sound great. What I love on a baritone, as opposed to a bass six, is you can play chords on a baritone, and it just sounds fan-flipping-tastic. Open chords, and you don't want to be thrashing away with loads of gain, although, as we said, Rabea's pretty good at that. But just picked open chords on a baritone with a bit of reverb and delay. Oh, man, it's awesome. Let's get one.
Okay, now, is the baritone just extended that way?
Correct.
Okay, right.
Well,
By how much?
They don't have to be. Baritone just refers to the tonality.
So I could just
they tend to be
tune
tuned.
this down to drop A or something, and that would be a baritone guitar.
They tend to be A.
They tend to be A.
I believe so.
There you go.
But I guess there've been probably B over the years as well. B for baritone.
As a baritone.
Yeah, and usually an extended scale.
Right.
Fender, in fact, do a replacement neck.
Do they?
You can just buy a baritone neck for your Strat or Tele. Yeah, I'm sure I saw that just recently.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that gives me an idea, actually, after that email that we received today.
I do believe we have to shut the super chat off. So if you've super chatted so far, we will answer you. If you have not super chatted, please don't. We're going to turn it off so that we can get through everybody, and Dan and I can get home for Meat Feast.
Meat Feast 2021. Gonna eat till you sweat. Sweat from your meat. That's terrible.
Yeah.
James Royce is B for his Dan Electro baritone.
Yeah.
What was the Dan Electro that we played in at NAMM a couple of years ago? It was the Dan Electro 12 string.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Yeah. Oh dear, we do have a lot to get through.
Okay, let's we've hit 1,000 people watching us. Chum on.
Awesome.
So let's give the good people what they've come for.
KJ Photo says, just to thank you for making my electric guitar experience as rewarding as my acoustic experience has been for 30-some years.
Amazing.
Cheers from the Big Apple. Well, thank you, KJ.
Thank you, mate. That's
that's
wonderful.
really good to hear. Greetings, Legends, says Jim Goulden.
Hello, Jim.
Wet dry. I have a Fryette power station sitting idle, using the Ampefx send for the split. Does it need isolating at that point? Thanks for the advice.
At the
when you use the Ampefx loop for the split.
Oh, okay. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's how Rabea does it.
Yeah,
and Andy Simmons for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So yes, it does. And Dan's Humdinger will do that for you.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it and see, but the chances of getting a massive earth loop hum are high.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not going to hurt to try it.
Yeah. Exactly that. It usually does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It usually does. Train Franks is on from Japan. Hello, Train.
Hello, Train.
He says, finally, a live stream while I have accidentally whiskied my way to the start line. No questions, but a comment that I just bought a Les Paul tribute in Satin Cherry Sunburst and the DSL, and that guitar sings. R.I.P. Neighbours.
What? Well, he's in Japan, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which probably means you have some. Well, and it depends where in Japan you live. If you live in Tokyo, you've probably got some neighbours.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Saw some of the most amazing guitars in Japan.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so beautiful.
We had a lovely time there. Zoot alors! First there was TPS wet dry, then Vic P. Now gain down, volume up. Concepts that change my tonal life forever. Keep them coming, guys. Long live TPS. Thank you, Zoot.
Oh, mate. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Wade Summers wants to know. Hello, Wade.
Hello, Wade.
Thank you for your generosity, Wade. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity for chatting. Difference between using an attenuator on a tube amp with no master volume and having an amp with a master volume. In other words, is the attenuator the same as the master volume function? I got a 2008 AC30 with a master and I love it.
So,
no is the answer. It's not the same thing at all.
It's very different. So if you've got a master volume and you're cranking the gain, what you're doing is you're cranking the preamp stage. And it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's really fantastic. It's very different than having a non-master volume amplifier and cranking that and using an attenuator, because what the attenuator is doing, the attenuator sits with the master volume, you're getting the distortion from the preamp, but you've still got all the headroom in the power stage and the phase inverter and the transformer and the speaker. With the attenuator sat between the power stage, the output, and the speaker, and then you crank that, then you're also getting all your lovely power harmonics when that goes into clipping. You get your power valves working, you get the transformer working, which is a really big deal. And it's a very different sounding, very different feeling drive. The preamp thing, it can be great, and it can sound really tight. There's a squishiness and a harmonic content to a cranked power stage that is irreplaceable. And that's the thing for me that I've just got going with the J.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's something in those harmonics that when that amp is working, it's like, okay, this is now really, really important to certainly this stage of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very different thing.
Yeah.
Both cool.
Yeah. And usually your happy place is some, if you think you start with no preamp gain and no power amp gain, and that's nothing, and then everything on 10 is the other thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got infinite, I shall pretend that I am a master volume and a gain knob, Dan.
Yes.
Infinite combinations of the two, and somewhere in there is your happy place of what he just said: harmonics, gain, feedback, all those things that make us happy as guitar players.
Yeah.
And it often is the case in a traditional amp such as an AC30 that setting for the master volume where you're happiest is probably a bit too loud for your environment.
Sure.
And an attenuator can help. Bear in mind, it does change things again, because then the speakers aren't seeing the full love from the amp. But it's certainly closer than not having the attenuator.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's not the same sound as having the amp cranked and miking the speaker. But it is a really cool sound.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I tend to not bother with attenuators and just get the master and the pre in the place that you like it, and totally happy with that.
Yeah.
Totally happy with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Brian Selengo. He saw Blackberry Smoke and the Allman Betts Band at Red Rocks last weekend. Cheers to 5 hours of loud amps, 60-year-old guitars, and southern rock and roll.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Amazing.
That was amazing. George Radcliffe. Hi, George. I offer for consideration this extension of the Viv Savage School of Philosophy. If you don't know who Viv Savage is, watch Spinal Tap.
Indeed.
It's Spinal Tap, isn't it? He's not Bad News drummer, Viv Savage.
That's Vin Fuego.
Vin Fuego's Adrian Edmondson.
Yeah.
Viv Savage is Spinal Tap, isn't he? He's not.
Yeah, he's the keyboard player.
Have a good time all the time.
Have a good time. Yeah, I've got two hands. I can play that.
Have a good time all the time and help others to do the same. Thanks, Dan and Mick, for helping me to have a great time playing the guitar. Thanks, George.
Thank you, George.
That's very kind of you. I'm just going to check that Viv is definitely Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
And It's just what this is.
Well,
this is a brain fart, right? This is not
there he is.
a lack of knowledge. Yeah, thanks. It's just that it's too risky to get it wrong where tap's concerned.
Yeah. What would you do if you weren't playing rock and roll? Well, I'd probably go out in public and make a fool of myself if I didn't have a stage to go on. Just got to do that show where we have all these random questions and every answer is a tap quote. It's stupid.
Let's try it.
Yeah, okay.
Should we do Stonehenge? I drove past Stonehenge yesterday, and every time I live 11 miles from Stonehenge, and every time I drive past it, I'm like, shall we do Stonehenge? Literally every time.
Even by yourself,
Yeah.
and then still end up wetting yourself laughing
Yeah,
as driving
yeah.
the car. It's great.
And it's only
I'll tell you what the problem was.
The thing is, from where I drive past it, it is only that big as well. Oh, Ted, look at the cabs.
So it became a comedy number.
Yeah. Animal sounds. Hi, mates. Have you ever considered doing catchphrase T-shirts? For example, like Mick's, I hope the audio transfers, and Dan's, that's killer.
We did. We did have Schwang T-shirts and
We did. Yeah, we should do that.
Tone Fly. There's a new one.
Yes, Flying Beast of Tone.
Pretty tone for a fly guy.
Yeah, it seems that endlessly something headroom has made it into the pantheon of sayings too.
Not for you, just for everyone else. Forever, endlessly forever headroom.
And endlessly, sorry, it's been a busy weekend. Brain's full of other items. Mark 5 or Mark V says, why is the Tele neck pickup so thin? What's under the metal cover?
Why is the Tele neck pickup so thin?
He means physically.
Oh.
It looks the same as a strap pickup. It's got a bobbin on the top, pole pieces,
Yeah.
and it's got bits of wire around it. Well, a bit of wire wrapped around it.
Yep. It's perfection.
It's just
exactly what it's meant to be.
it's
No
very
more,
small.
no less.
Yeah. I mean,
And then you open this up. And there's
who's
a little
in here?
guy. Who's in
no one.
No one.
And then
And
who's
then
in
a little guy. And I don't want this. You keep folding it.
What are you saying, Nigel? You don't want miniature food?
I'm a professional. I'll rise above it. But it really does annoy me.
Yeah, Mark. So Google it. It looks the same as a strap pickup, just kind of smaller. Well, the same. All the people on the comments going, it doesn't look the same at all. Looks similar. Matt Presley. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt.
He says, I loved your Boss TS1 episode.
Oh, thank you, Matt.
So did I. I was really expecting not to as well.
Express myself in my solos.
I bought an 80s model in front of my Supro Black Magic. It got me the perfect Stone Temple Pilots tone for covering 90s grunge. Thank you.
That's awesome. Awesome. That's great, mate.
Round of applause for Mick for knowing what STP was there.
Well done.
That was pretty good, wasn't it?
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have taken me a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
I was thinking of that oil or petrol or whatever it was. That was the Monkeys.
Freezing on a Sunday afternoon.
Dan's just totally acknowledged me by actually playing some Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, that was great.
Name the guitar player?
Shreddy McFuzzface.
Weiland. Scott Weiland, was he the singer?
I don't know. Let's see.
Scott Weiland
Oh, well done.
was the singer. Dean DeLeo on guitar. And Robert DeLeo on bass.
Cool. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. I never knew that was the name of the guitar player. Never knew that. I thought it was... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Satya says, love the show, and I'm wearing a TPS t-shirt on each leg of my attempt to walk all of Monarch's Way. Wow, 625 miles for some men's health stuff.
Oh, mate, that's amazing.
The first leg started near Laney HQ for more guitar relevance. Yeah, they're in Cradley Heath, I believe, aren't they, in the Midlands there?
Right.
Nice.
Well done, mate.
Well done, Satir, for doing that and
Yeah,
for
brilliant.
men's health issues, whatever that might be. On behalf of everyone it benefits, thank you.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Yeah, nice
Amazing.
one. And
well
good
done.
luck. Good luck with it. Simon Hurst. Hello, gents. Sending some love your way. Thank you, Simon. We
Thank you,
feel it.
Simon.
Finally got some pedals of my own, and I'm thoroughly enjoying applying my learnings, even inside an HXFX. It's all good, Simon. It's all good with us. Actually, I don't feel guilty about anything. I don't feel great that people think they can't mention helixes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's all good.
If it gets you playing guitar and you enjoy it, it's not just all good.
Absolutely.
It's all great. I redid a friend's pedal board over the weekend because he's fed up with his helix because it kept crapping out. Turns out it wasn't crapping out at all. Guess what it was, Dan?
It was a cable.
It was a cable. It was a
There you
cable. Yeah. The helix was fine. Performing perfectly.
BV just said it's Dean DeLeo on Tom Bukovac's Trip the Witch album.
Well, now there is a coincidence.
Isn't it? That's amazing.
There we are. Dean DeLeo. Marco Caracciolo. I hope we've got that right, Marco. He's from Brazil. He says, have you seen the Intelligent Harmony Machine by Electro Harmonics?
Yes, I have.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's really good.
Is it one of those things you go, I'm playing in G, major,
Yeah.
and therefore...
And it'll track.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
It is really good. My biggest... I don't understand why a pedal that has so many options and sounds really good. Bill Poppet?
Puplet?
The
Guitar Tech?
No, the
Bill Bailey, the famous comedian?
famous comedian.
Yeah. Bill
the
and
guy that does
Ben,
the EH
the
demos.
Flower Pot Man.
Big
Bill
no
Brunsey.
mates. The guy that does the EH demos is Bill. Someone will tell me in 2
Bill
seconds.
Clinton, famous saxophone player and ex-president of the United States of America.
Let's see.
Bill
Anyway,
Posters, much
it's
maligned.
Bill. Anyway, I saw his demo of the Electro Harmonics harmony machine, whatever they call it, and it's really good. It's really clever. I just don't understand why they don't have any options where you can recall some of those sounds.
Right.
Even if you could just switch between a couple of presets would be really handy.
Right.
But it's really clever. Really, really clever. I guess for some stuff, right? If you were...
Do you mean Mike Herman's?
No, it's the guy that does the demos for Electro Harmonics. Bill Rupert.
Ah, Rupert the Bill.
There we go. Thank you, Arnav and Elliot. Yeah.
So your problem with it doesn't have presets?
I just wish there was some switching option to go between a couple of things because it's so clever.
Because you have to set it up each time?
You've got to, if you want to try something different, you've got to go through and set up everything, and then it's like all the information is there. Why not just store it? Even if you just had 2 or 3, and switch them via TRS. You don't necessarily have to have MIDI. It'd just be really helpful to be able to switch between a couple of things. And I really love. I think EHS pedals, even all the new ones, they have a sound to them.
Yeah, we're so rubbish with Electro Harmonics. We need to do more and get more because they're so popular. They're often highly affordable and they always sound good.
Cathedral Reverb.
I don't know why we don't have
killer.
more or do more. It's remiss of us.
Yeah.
Default name says, hi gents, I'm gassing hard for a high watt or a clone. Do you have any experience with high tone or would it be worth my time to chase a good vintage custom 100?
High tone are fantastic. And they do really good cabs as well.
High watt recently got consolidated. It was, how to say this, it was the subject of some difficult financial stuff over the years, and it's been owned in different territories of the world by different parties. I think recently somebody has bought the whole thing, so I rather suspect they may well be making really nice new ones.
Right.
Do check that. And there have been various others over the years, haven't there? So High Tone, I think, are very well respected, as you say. What were the ones that Rich Robinson played? Joyce?
The Joyce amps, yeah. Definitely.
From the Black Crows, so I don't know if you might be able to find one of those.
And that's something to do with the...
well, that would be Harry Joyce.
Harry Joyce, and something to do with his family.
Yeah.
Sort of
I think there's
carrying on.
Again, this is pure conjecture, but I think there's been a lot of legal rubbish over the years and people falling out with one another and all of that.
They are remarkable amplifiers.
Yeah, we found that. We got that on Reverb. It had been well maintained, signed by Harry Joyce, 73. I can't remember what we paid for it.
It's the archetypal military style point-to-point hand wiring. It's just beautiful.
I guess the thing with that is it was, relatively a lot of money, but if you get one that's documented, blah, 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 and you've got the funds to put into it, A, it's the sound. B, you're never going to lose any money on it.
That's a really good point.
As long as you can afford to stuff the money into it for however long you want to keep it, that to me is always the argument for buying really good traditional original stuff, because as long as it hasn't been messed about with too much, and it's in reasonable, well, even if it's in not reasonable condition, as long as you buy it at the right price, you're always going to be able to sell it.
Yeah.
So but if it's purely the sound you're looking for, we've never heard anything negative said about the High Tone stuff.
No.
Outside of that, I don't really know. It's not really my area of knowledge.
Yeah. You can... The old high watts, they just have a thing. And if you can, a really good new, high tone, that sort of level of amplifiers, they're going to cost you around the same anyway.
They are. And there's, this is very contentious, but even very highly respected, well-known amp makers that I know tell me things like the new Transformers really don't sound like the old ones.
Right.
Because that type of stuff isn't available.
Well, yeah, that's very true. And not that the new ones don't sound great, it's just they will sound different as well.
And the new ones have to be built to the specs and tolerances of new valves, which is a different thing, etc., etc. These are all like splitting hairs. We're talking about micro differences here, but if you want the real thing, get the real thing.
Yep. Very well said. Boom.
Yeah.
How we doing?
Yeah. Kurt H.
Hello, Kurt.
Hello, Kurt. He says, Legends, I finally got a Meris Mercury 7 thanks to your recommendation.
Ah, you know what? That's gone back on my board.
It sounds killer with my MXR Brown Acid, Jam Rattler Earth, Quaker, Grand Orbiter, Diamond Vibrato, and Way Huge Aquapus. Well, that's a nice board.
Man. How good is that Diamond Vibrato?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lovely. Absolutely lovely board. Well done.
Herschel T. Herschel, thank
Herschel.
you. He says you guys are the bestest in the whole wide world.
Ah, bless you. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Herschel. I will repeat my oft repeated answer, which is we're not Tom Bookerback is, but thank you anyway. Ambrosia de Leon. That sounds like a very posh custard.
A posh version of ambrosia custard.
Yeah,
very
Ambrosia
good.
de Leon.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, they call it creme anglaise, don't they? When it's thinner than custard.
Just cream with a bit of sugar.
And eggs.
Condensed milk.
Oh dear, Dan.
Yeah. I'm lactose intolerant, so my knowledge of dairy-based products is limited.
This is poor. I've been using an always-on clean OCD, says Ambrosia de Leon. Or Leon. A clone as my post-boost and a steel stringer as a pre-boost, all into 2 crank Tweed twin-style amps. Oh my God. Any suggestions to throw in another drive to change up the inspiration? I've already got a fuzz. Wow, so that's a really, really serious tone you've got going on there then. Tweed twin style amps, always on OCD, set clean. clone before it and a steel stringer after it. Tell you what I like about that is, depending on how dirty you're running that OCD, you're not, it says it's clean, what you've got there is a really tasty harmonic selection of overdrive. So even though you're more than capable of getting quite high gain out of all of that, I'm guessing you like the kind of clarity and bigness and headroom and goodness that comes with overdrive stacked but with low gain.
Yeah.
There is a harmonic goodness in that.
I'm assuming you're running the OCD at 18 volts or higher than 9, depending on how powerful the pickups are in your main guitar. But yeah, the OCD, the clean tone of an OCD at 18 volts is really special.
Yeah.
What else then?
So what you've got is huge clean thing in the steel stringer. So it's essentially a boost, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the OCD, which is good, crunchy, full range, Marshall-y type overdrive.
Yep.
And which you're using clean, and the clone, which is clonny with your mid hump.
Mids.
I think you could do with something naughty. You've got a
You
fuzz,
go naughty, I'll go nice.
but I think you should go for something between the fuzz and the cleaner stuff. And I would look at something like the Mythos Chupacabra,
Yeah, come on.
which is kind of like a transistor-y type sounding. It's not a transistor overdrive, but it's like a transistor-y sounding kind of overdrive that veers towards fuzz in the vein of Billy Gibbons, and I think that would work really nicely for you.
Yep.
Or a Walrus 385, which is the sort of Blake Mills projector amp. Just because you strike me as someone who doesn't want a nice smooth, Dumble dude kind of sound. You strike me as somebody who just wants to, and I think the 385 or the Chupacabra could work great for you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shout. I'm going to go with I'd like to go something like simple that you can stack really nicely.
Mythos Golden Fleece.
Mythos Golden Fleece is a really good one, but that's
kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, kind of fuzzy. I would look at something like a Greer Southland.
Nice.
I think would work really well. Southland stacked is actually, the light speed is amazing. I think for the stacking stuff, I think the Southland is really, really special. But you could even go for something like, so the Nobles ODR1 is really great. It's really got a really lovely flat frequency response. So instead of the cleaner boost of the the Dumble type thing or the mid push, something that will just add more natural gain to the sound without really pushing those mids. Now, if you like the idea of that, check out the Nordland ODC one.
It's the one made by Kai Ichibano.
Yep. Look up Nordland Electronics.
Who's the original designer?
So he was the designer, and he's done a couple of tweaks to that design.
Yeah.
And talking to Paul Stacey this week, actually, he got one, and he says it's really, really great. So I think that would, just give you another colour that I think would work really well with that. So
I'm going to add a left field choice in.
Oh, here we go.
Because I've just seen it and I was messing around with it this week.
Tourbender. What is it? Is it the compressor?
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
It's a Union.
That's a really good shout, actually.
Union Tube and Transistor Lab. It's actually a compressor, but it's loosely modelled on the Teletronics LA2A, which is a very famous studio compressor that's got a very specific sound.
Yep.
And you can really get that going and talk about dynamics.
Yeah, it's magic.
As regular viewers will know, I'm not a massive fan of compressors. I use that all day long.
Yeah, lovely. That's a really good shout, actually.
Yeah.
Well done.
Good luck. Oh, Jacob Van Cura, I think, or Van Sura. Apologies, I don't know how
Greetings.
to pronounce that C. Anyway,
Is it Jacob or Jakob?
well, he's from the Czech Republic, so I'm gonna say it's Jakob, but it might be Jacob.
Okay.
Dan, I found the one. A Fender Telecaster Custom Shop 52. It's well matched to my CS60 Strat. Now I'm broke, but so happy. Take care. Love from the Czech Republic.
Well done, mate. It's really interesting finding the Telecaster. It's you have a friend for life, and they're just great. Well done.
Congrats.
Many years of enjoyment to you. And
it's a happy day, isn't it, when it happens? If you've just joined us, these spectacularly well designed seasonal holiday Christmas t-shirts are available from thatpedalshowstore.com. Something for you to wear on the happy day or unhappy day, depending on how you feel about it. That could cheer you up. What?
Yeah. No. I just no. All good. Carry on.
Everyone loves to hate Christmas, don't they?
I like Christmas because it's the start of a couple of weeks off.
Yeah.
And it's a happy day.
Yeah. I like it if it was a day off, I would like it. But it usually involves cooking. And entertaining.
Yeah, but I don't mind that because I've got nothing else to do for the next week and a bit.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah. I would like a Christmas one day where I don't cook.
Why don't you guys come over to us for Christmas?
We can't. We've got a house full of people who I've got to cook for.
Okay, we'll come to you then. We'll add to your travel.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But it'll be nice to see them, and I always enjoy it in the end. Usually at the end.
Oh dear. Put that in the Google ad.
The great Del. Hello, Del. He says, who do you think has an amazing tone but isn't recognised as a tone titan? For me, it's Jeff Martin from the Tea Party. Les Paul's into 2 matchless Super Chiefs and 2 Fender Bassmans. Oh my goodness me.
That was the guitar rig that I was working on. No, sorry. The guitar tech who was doing Diesel's rig, doing the big MIDI rig, my first Cornish rig that guitar tech was the guitar tech for that gentleman from the Tea Party.
No way.
Yeah.
For Jeff Martin.
Yeah.
No way.
And he was monstrous guitar sounds. I couldn't agree more, sir.
I'm going to have a listen. I'm embarrassingly unexperienced with that. So Dan, come on then. Amazing tone, but isn't recognised as a tone titan.
Dave Gregory, for me. And I'm going to pick 2, and I'm going to go Neil Finn.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
What I like about that is you've picked somebody there who's written some of the greatest songs ever recorded, some of the most memorable songs that have been on absolute A-list radio everywhere in the world for goodness knows how long. So they are extremely famous as well.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking about people who aren't very well known.
Right.
And the first one that came to mind was someone called Anthony DaCosta, and Anthony plays with Aoife O'Donovan,
yes,
among others, and does also solo records, and he's a real sonic titan, I would say. Not well known like in the sense of Neil Finn, but well known among his crowd. Who else? Who do I think sounds great? Oh God, there's so many. And for everyone who you mention, like, so if I say the dude from Bryan Adams' band.
Ah, yes, Scott.
Yeah.
Scotty Face.
Which is crazy. Why does his name escape me? Given that so annoying. Brain is farting out.
I saw a picture of them. They started playing like
Keith Scott.
Keith Scott.
Of course, it's Keith
They
Scott.
started playing together like a really young age.
Yeah.
And they just clicked. He's amazing.
I mean, I mean, I know Bryan Adams has done loads of stuff over the years, but the guitar tones on Reckless are
Out of control. Yep.
just unbelievably
Yep.
good.
They really are.
Unbelievably good. Too many to mention, I think. Too many to mention. Any great guitar player, and there's flipping millions of them out there.
Yeah. My favourite guitar solo of all time is the guitar solo on Year of the Cat.
Yeah, you've told me this before.
Yeah. And just go and check out, like, the rest of the song doesn't really do it for me, but you've got to listen to the rest of the song to understand what's going in the solo. Absolutely remarkable. Tim, he's played with everyone.
Pierce.
No.
Lurch.
Oh, no. Come on. I'm having that moment now.
Tiny Tim. Tim, the vicious rabbit. Actually, Tim wasn't the rabbit, was it? Tim was the rabbit, the guy by the rabbit.
Tim Renwick.
Okay.
I don't know if you pronounce it Renwick or Rennick.
Rennick, probably.
Rennick. Okay.
Yeah.
But so how weird is this? That's been my favourite guitar solo forever. And I met him and I didn't even know it was him.
Wow.
I met him at Anderton's.
No way.
And was chatting to him. He is the loveliest guy.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of us down there, Graham Coxon, and there was a big meet and greet thing. And I met him and they said, oh, this is Tim, who's, played for Pink Floyd and stuff. And, oh, amazing. And I only clicked later on, I was like, that's Tim that played that solo. And I never got to talk to him about it. I was just desperate to find out how he did it. Anyway, there we go.
Mark Ribot is my answer. Mark Ribot.
Very good. We could go on with this for a long time.
R-I-B-O-T. Played for all kinds of people, but also with Tom Waits. Nice. I heard a great guitar solo actually on the radio yesterday. Abracadabra, the song.
Hall & Oates.
I don't know who it's by. Hell of a guitar solo. Really bonkers, like chopped together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it is Hall & Oates actually.
Isn't it?
Don't think so. Steve Miller Band.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah, that wasn't the version I heard though.
I'm pretty sure it is.
They said somebody else. No, it is definitely is the Steve Miller Band. There we are.
Go.
Which is interesting, because Space Cowboy's got a completely bonkers guitar solo as well, hasn't it?
Right. Okay.
Further investigation required.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway, we digress. Banjo had a baby, and they called it rock and roll. Is that how that works?
Called it ukulele.
Yeah. I finally caught up. Oh no, I finally caught COVID.
Oh dear.
And I can't taste, which is miserable. I'm learning to read sheet music in isolation to improve my jazz. William Levitt, who I assume is the teacher. Do you guys? ? And I guess the inference is read sheet music.
So
I listen to a lot of sheet music.
I understand notation. I'm a terrible sight reader. I've just never needed to do it. But I did study music and I do understand notation and all that stuff. So, and I found that really helpful. But yeah. I've never needed to sight read. However, it's the most impressive thing when you see someone who can sight read, and they just pick up, put a piece of music down, they go, and it comes out, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, literally, no idea.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know what the thing I don't get about the flipping fly shit is, why are there only 5 lines?
Because it's all you got bass clef and treble clef and all the other clefs.
But then they put the note up there. Why isn't there a line up there? I can't see what it is up there.
They have lines that go up there. I know.
Does my nut in.
I know.
It's like. So, right, there are people in the world. as you get older, you realise that everything has its equal and exact opposite, right? The world
Indeed.
is in equilibrium. Some might argue that it's currently out of its equilibrium, but anyway, at any point there is an equilibrium of things, and for every, well, I don't know, good there is bad, and the opposite, and everything balances ultimately.
Okay.
There are PC people and there are Mac people.
Okay.
PC people do all the programming and all the coding and write music,
Right.
and Mac people paint all the pictures and do improvisation.
Okay.
That's how that works.
Right.
I am not a PC person.
Okay.
Now, you could change any of those dichotomies and twist them to your own analogy. You could even swap the PC and the Mac if you want. I'm just saying, I think it might be a left-right brain thing.
Interesting.
I am never, ever going to understand logic like that, which is what notated music is. It's logic, and it is a language.
It is. It might be. You might find it more challenging, but it's only because you don't want to understand it.
That is
you
true.
have no desire to understand it. If you did,
I accept that philosophical
I've seen
point.
you can sit. I've seen you go through software like a machine.
Oh yeah,
Because
I've got a use for
you've
it.
got a use for it. It serves a purpose.
Not that I don't understand the software. It's
No.
I don't want to understand how to code it.
No, well, yeah, but it's
So
There's-
you tell me then.
there are 12 notes.
There are.
That's it.
I'm going to play a G, Dan.
Yep. Mm-hmm. What would you like to know? Right. Fortissimo.
I'm just saying that it doesn't make any sense when you write it down, because it's got nothing to do with how you emote it.
I think they do a pretty good job being able to write down.
Please don't misunderstand me. I have literally endless respect for professional musicians and people who can and do and compose. And
Yeah, yeah.
Endless respect. I have a mental block of comprehending it.
The other thing to remember is there's always room for interpretation. Which is why you've got amazing. You'll hear a if you hear Andre Segovia and versus Julian Bream play the same piece, and it'll affect you very differently.
I'm just like, plug it in, man, please. I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, what you just heard, Dan was right. I just don't have it's a choice not to learn, and I'm obviously afraid, which is why I come up with loads of explanation strategies of why I don't.
You just want to do it, and that's fine. You don't have to justify it.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on. Chris Turner, he says, good luck, Banjo, by the way, with your studies, and we hope you feel better recovering from the old COVID and your taste comes back.
Yeah.
That is
It's a
pretty-
wonderful thing that you're doing, mate.
Pretty boring.
Yeah. We wish you all the best with it, and hope you're feeling better soon.
Yep. Chris Turner, our daughter Hannah was born on Friday. Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations.
Mr. and Mrs. Chris, or Mr. and Mr. Chris, or Mr. Chris, or no, daughter, probably a lady. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Congratulations. It's the cul-de-sac of inclusion. Congratulations.
There's a T-shirt.
Trying to do the right thing, doing the wrong thing all the way to jail. Anyway, so Hannah watched the show with me 4 hours old. Bless her.
Oh, fantastic.
He says...
That'll be our youngest ever,
Yeah,
surely.
yeah.
That's amazing.
We do
Wow.
say baby grows for what it's worth, actually, Chris. In the not that every awful corporation in the world isn't already trying to flog you stuff for your offspring. We'll just add ourselves to that list. She seemed to like you guys more than the Zappa stuff I've had on. There's time.
Yeah, she'll get there.
Yeah, she will get there, and we hope she does.
Man. Oh, no. Oh, no, I can't remember it.
Segovia again.
No, that was Zappa. It was Orange County Lumber Truck. We used to play that in spirits. It was such a
Nice.
great tune.
I found a picture of me and Dweezil Zappa the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd love to get him on. He's I've got endless respect for him. He's so great.
Here's a petition to get Johnny Marr on the show, says Todd Morgan. Definitely in the top 3 underrated guitarists ever.
I think Johnny Marr's very rated.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Johnny Marr is underrated.
No, he's amazing and known to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be underrated by your average blues rocker, shall we say.
Sure. But he is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
and would
really
love
is.
to have him on the show.
He
Wow.
really is. He's great. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of meeting Johnny a couple of times and been sat opposite him while he's blasting some stuff. It's great. Michael Gilberto. Hello, Michael. Loved Friday's show. Very educational.
Thank you.
Also, I saw Tab Benoit last night. Great show. Loud.
See?
When I was setting that mic up, I said, if I put that mic stand there, Dan's going to kick it. To be fair, I have put his chair literally right next to it.
Yeah, but I kicked it back into place.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
perfect.
Well done, mate.
Got a green globule left on the drum seat. You can't dust for long.
Yeah. Again, I am very sorry. I had to Google Tab Benoit, having not knowing him. From the bayou of southern Louisiana. Nice. We'll have to check him out. Loud is good. Looks like he plays some sort of Tele Deluxe or something, does he? Or a thin line, maybe? 72 thin line?
Lovely.
Cool.
Or Beefy says to check your messages.
Check my messages.
Please.
Mick, the police are on their way around.
Witsen Studio says Mara is underrated by the school of non-players. Everyone's underrated by the school of non-players. I'm rated by non-players.
BV says, no need for Dan to stalk Tom. He's up for it any time you guys are in Nashville.
Well,
thank you, BV.
Stalking is half the fun.
Yeah.
So we will stalk him.
Another missing super chat from September Fire, who says, greetings from El Paso in Texas. And thanks to D&M, I might just get the Roland Jazz Chorus.
Fantastic.
Good.
Yep.
We like them both, especially like the 40.
Yeah. It's a little bit noisy, the 40. Some people having trouble with it.
That's why I play the guitar. I don't know about and we should check out Tab Benoit as well, Michael. Thanks for the tip. Dan Cobley. Hello, Dan. He says,
Dan.
Here's some pocket money.
Thank you, buddy.
Cheers. I had money for the first time in about 2 years this weekend.
Because you did a gig.
I did a gig and I got paid, and it was great. And it was like weird having money.
Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen cash.
It wasn't much cash, but it was cash nonetheless.
Yeah. That'll now sit in your wallet for the next 2 years until you have to get and do another
and it's
gig.
plastic now.
Right.
It's really weird.
See, I've had plastic money for forever in Australia.
Yeah, of course.
Because we go surfing all the time.
And I didn't even know there were £100 notes.
Are you serious? Well, the thing is, we've had $100 bills in Australia for the longest time, and I always found it really weird how when I came here, and I'd have a 50 and I handed it over to someone, and that it's as if I'd handed them a piece of dog poo on a bit of toilet. You know, it's like it's legal tender, and it's just a 50. It's just 2.5 of one of these. I could hand people $10,000, $20, no problem at all. Hand them a 50. My goodness, you must be a criminal.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's a good point.
So weird.
$100 bill, I guess you have, don't you, in the States?
And the rest.
Yeah, we don't have £100 notes in the UK.
I think we should.
We have £50 notes, and you don't see many of them. But we don't see much cash at all, because obviously for the last however flipping long we've been card only everywhere. So, which all the hackers of the world really love. Anyway, thank you. I just got my Taylor back after its refret and repairs, and oh my god, I'm in love again. Oh, cheers, Dan. You,
well
I
done,
think
Dan.
you commented last week saying that you were a bit worried about it, that having it refretted would change whether you loved it or not, and we decided that you were going to love it, and you do love it.
Well done, mate.
Congrats,
Yep.
congrats. Mike, 2203 fan Mike, who came
Hey,
to
Mike.
the TPS day.
Excellent. Oh, Mike sent me a lovely email, actually. Yeah, it was really good.
Nice.
Yeah, had a really great day. It's great to see you, Mike, and thank you for bringing that app. It was amazing.
Marshall 2061.
Yep.
He says, can you buy a new USA Tele for under 1,200 quid? The Tele range is colossal and so is the price range. I usually buy online from Anderton's. It's a very difficult price point, that, Mike, because what you are there is Vintera Plus, basically. And I don't know what an American standard Telecaster is now, probably around about that, if not a bit more.
Right.
Let's have a look. They were American standards were 899 quid forever, except for when they were 599 quid.
Oh, okay.
Which is what they were when they first came out.
Right.
And then they were 800 quid forever. And then, I don't know, financial crisis happened. Pound fell into the Atlantic Ocean. And then they were 1,200 quid. I think is roughly how that worked.
Right.
How come I haven't got 8? Yeah. How come? What? What? All I've got here is reverb. Anyway, I think they're about that much, Mike. It's a tough one. Personally, for that much money, I'd buy the top end of the Mexi stuff, like Vintera, Road Worn.
The Road Worn stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, I think
it really is.
My Jason Isbell Tele is around about that sort of money.
Right.
Which is a nice guitar.
Is that Mexican?
Yeah.
It's an amazing guitar.
Yeah.
That's a good shout, actually.
There is a great deal of misunderstanding, misinformation, etc., about how the American made guitars are necessarily better than the Mexican made ones. It's just not the case. When you factory make guitars in that way, and in fact when you make guitars in any way, there is a level of variance between them. And I think what you do get with Fender is the more money you spend, the more likely you are to find a really, really great guitar in the 50 that have been made that in the last 2 minutes. Which is also to say that you can find an absolutely fantastic Squier Tele 2.
Yeah, you can. That's true.
Certainly the classic vibe stuff is always really good. What you get with the higher end Mexican made stuff and what you get above what the various American standard ranges. So if you get into Road Worn and some other of the Mexican made guitars, and you get into American vintage, which isn't called American vintage anymore, it's called American original, and then off into custom shop, you get nitrocellulose finish.
And then they came out as the originals, and we were the new originals, and then they stopped, and we just ended up being originals again.
Which is an apt analogy, right? Because what are we trying to do? We're trying to recreate this, aren't we? 1950. When they only knew wrong chords. And
I know him. Ron?
Yeah.
Ron Chords.
He's in the band with Ron Beats and Ron Van Binney. Anyway, yeah, it's a tough one. I would personally look at a Road Worn, actually, I think is what I would go for that sort of money.
Road Worn or the Jason Isbell.
Yeah.
Jason Isbell is spectacular.
Yeah, or if you're brave enough, try and find a second-hand American vintage. They're a little harder to play. They can be because of the rounder fingerboard, slightly higher action, all that. I think as I remember playing your Strat, it was very nicely set up, pretty slinky feeling. Yeah, I would go for Vintera. If you can find a used classic series. Yeah, or even Squier Classic Vibe. Save your money. Great guitar. Potentially a great guitar. Good luck.
Yes, good luck, mate.
It's really tough. Without sitting there playing them, it's really hard.
Yeah.
To yeah, it's very hard. Yeah. Alistair Tweedy. Alistair, thank you.
Hello, Alistair, thank you.
You've chatted twice. Hope you're well. What's the closest Boss pedal to a tube screamer? Is it the OD1, OD3, or the SD1, or something else, or not at all?
That's a really tricky question.
It's the SD1,
Yeah,
isn't it?
SD1. The SD1, Super Overdrive.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be the closest.
I think. The truth is, I get confused
Okay,
because I've had them all over the years.
right. I think the SD1 is the closest.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it spikes as much, but it still spikes around
Yeah.
that 800k mark.
Isn't the difference in the clipping or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can't remember. I have to look at the circuit.
No, I can't remember either. Because the OD1 was that sort of sound as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, Alistair, I'm sorry we failed you in answering that question because it's a minefield of we don't know.
Yeah, no. Scott Gaylor says OD3 or OD1. It's definitely in there.
Yeah. See, I thought the Super Overdrive was as well. Anyway.
But the Super Overdrive is the OD. No, Super Overdrive is the SD1.
Yeah.
Yeah. The OD1's is the two-knob one, right?
Yeah. I don't even know if they make that anymore.
No. SD1. Yeah, SD1.
Yeah, SD1. That was always my favourite anyway. Because back in the day when you could only buy Boss and Arion pedals, there wasn't really anything else available where I lived.
Right.
I just used to buy any yellow overdrive. And then there was one with 4 knobs and a switch on it, and that sounded awful.
Okay.
So I gave up on that one. Dan and Mick says P1 pieces. He says, or she says, or they say, "Hey Dan and Mick, how do you go about selecting pedals for a sound for a newly written original song?" That's a great question.
It's a great question. I find sounds and then write the songs. As in, I'm sort of led by the sounds generally.
The sound,
so
yeah.
I had a really interesting chat with Andy Partridge years ago, and we're talking about lyrics. There you go. And I don't know if you'd approach it the same thing, but it is. Think of how the song feels, right? So you've written the song, you've got lyrics and everything, and there's a certain feeling that the song has. And it's whether or not you can convey that same feeling through, sonically. So in some songs it's going to be, angular and sharp edges. In other songs it may be, big scoop mids and massive wall of sound type fuzz. In other songs it might be smooth. It's just like if you can associate an emotion with a sound and a way that you play that's going to work with that sound, and just don't think too much about it. Just grab a few things and try them. The best thing you can do is just start doing it. Grab some pedals and go, actually this works. Oh, this one doesn't, but it might work for this section. Just start experimenting. If you don't have a really clear idea, because sometimes you write a song and you go, I know it's going to work exactly in this bit.
Yeah.
I want to hear that octave pedal or whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't, just grab some stuff and start playing over it.
Yeah, I think I tend to default to the things I know the best. But one thing I've been learning to do a bit better recently is to have really contrasting sounds. So if you've got one thing that's quite bassy and full sounding, you want something that's really over thin and weird sounding that you can mix in the other earphone. So to look for a contrast of sounds rather than just everything clawing the same space. And what that then means is you can be more economical with the parts.
Yeah.
One thing
That's
I've
really good.
been really enjoying recently is well, when we were in here, there's a 3-piece. So Dougie's on the drums, Dan's playing bass, and I'm playing guitar, or I'm playing bass and Dan's playing guitar, and the space that allows you is wonderful. The gig that I did on Saturday night was electric guitar, me, keys, bass, and drums. So again, just one guitar, and the space. You can have so much space without having to fill every available note of time, every beat with noise. And I think that can work for your recorded music too. Obviously, you may want to layer up parts, but you can be really sparse with those parts.
Yeah.
If you want to be. And I like that. I like music that has air in it.
Yeah. Have a listen to anything that Josh Homme's recorded.
Yeah.
For the way that he orchestrates his guitar parts. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just start.
Yeah.
Just start, and then I think you'll be surprised when you come at it with. It can be really great to come up with a really clear vision of what you want, but then it can be also equally as great to have no idea and just start plugging stuff in and experiment.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, well done,
Enjoy.
mate. Yeah.
So Ron Leslie, Scott Gaylor, and Stanislav Migra are all in on the SD1, it would seem. So
okay.
Stanislav, thank you. Or Stanislav was saying the OD1 was the first. The TS Tube Screamer is the upped version of that, and the SD1 is Boss's answer with asymmetrical clipping.
Asymmetrical clipping.
I knew it was something to do with that. Yeah. Ron Leslie says the SD1 is all about the boss, about the boss, about the boss. He likes the SD1. And Scott Gaylor says the SD1 is more of a gainier drive.
Interesting.
That may have something to do with the asymmetrical clipping.
Totally.
And one would assume the EQ is a little bit different. So yeah, SD1. We're going to say SD1 to Alistair, because I am feeling some remorse of not being able to answer the question. Robert Murphy says, greetings gents, thanks to you guys I've been running a wet dry rig with an all analog pedal board and I'm in tone heaven. Nothing gives me more gas than Dan's oh yes face. Keep up the good work.
Excellent, mate.
Yeah, you know when it happens. Neither of us are very good at either lying or concealing truths. No. And it usually comes across in a facial expression.
Yeah. But and how wonderful, right? That you just when it's happening and you're connected and you cannot hide it. Yeah. I'm so excited.
Sorry to bang on about it, but having done the first gig I've done in ages on Saturday night, literally at the end of the night I had that pain up here because I've just been smiling all
so
day.
Much. Oh, mate, that's fantastic.
It was just so nice. It was,
let's do some TPS gigs.
Oh yeah. That's it. That's what we do.
Yeah. And but you also don't look at the mic. You also were playing the Leicester.
Yeah, I did. I
took
Nev's Les Paul.
Yeah.
2 people who don't even play the guitar came up to me and said how fantastic the Les Paul sounded.
What, that thing sounds good lush.
Well, we did. So, sorry, slight tangent. There was 2 set-piece solos in the set. One was "Rockin' All Over the World" by Quo, which
did you play that on the Leicester?
No. I played it on the Strat.
Right.
Sorry to all the Quo fans, but it's a really great solo.
Yeah. And
"All Right Now" by Free, and of course I played that on the Leicester. And having been playing that song for years, it's the first time I've ever played it on a Les Paul.
No way.
Yeah. Usually I have an SG or a 335 or, God forbid, the Strat.
Was it amazing?
Well, I don't know if it was amazing, but it sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah, I bet it was amazing.
It wasn't, I'm not Koss, and it wasn't a flipping, Plexi, but it was a Les Paul, and we were playing All Right Now, and it was loud.
I saw some old footage of those guys. Who's the singer from Free?
His name is Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers. I was astounded.
He's a monster singer.
At that guy.
He's an amazing singer. But when you play the bit up there,
yep.
No other guitar sounds like a Les Paul on that fret.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, played it badly there, but I promise you with volume and at a gig it was good.
Amazing.
Yeah. That was a very gratifying moment.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much. That was the end of set 1. The first song in set 2 was Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. And that was one of 2 songs that I insisted on doing. And the second one we didn't do, which was Back for Good by Take That.
Excellent. Excellent.
Greetings from Brentwood, Essex, says Clive. My late wife got me an Epiphone Les Paul in 1989. I never really played it, didn't have the time, but I've had it set up and wow, I love it. What would be a good OD to get for this guitar?
Oh, mate. So it all depends on what app you're using. OCDs go really well with the humbuckers, and will work into a variety of amplifiers. I think an OCD style.
Yeah, full tone OCD. I think that's a really good shout. Yeah, you want something that's got a bit of gain, is nice and full sounding. Something like a Tube Screamer style, I think, would be probably a bit nosy for that guitar.
Yeah.
Bit too honky. Boss BD2 Blues Driver is always a good shout.
Really good shout. There's plenty of gain on there as well, but it also cleans up beautifully.
Yeah.
You can go from low gain to high gain stuff.
We very much like the Nobles ODR1 Overdrive.
That's a really good shout as well.
So yeah, I would start with Nobles ODR1, Boss BD2 Blues Driver,
And the OCD.
and the Full Tone OCD.
Yep, check those out.
Great all-round overdrives.
Yep.
And yeah, really great that you're enjoying that guitar.
Yeah.
That's the setup.
It's everything.
I think it's time to do blue again. Actually, I think I've gone through the nut again.
Seriously?
I think so, yeah.
Get it down to Johnny.
So boring.
I'm seeing him on Wednesday.
Nice. G-Barge, hello G.
Hey, G.
He says, Dear Tone Maestros, could you please comment on the best ways to get artists paid for their recording work? Most streaming platforms pay pennies. Question is prompted by Tom Bukovac's solo release on Friday. Cheers.
Boy, oh boy.
You may as well have wound me up and let me go, G.
That's him for the night. I'm going to have a nap. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
I'm going to use the example of carbon dioxide emissions, which is very... Dan and I tried to get a invite to COP20. Is it 20? 26?
COP20, I don't know.
I wanted to go as Chips. Dan wanted to go as Kojak, but he's not quite there yet. Anyway, they said, you're not coming, no way. So is China putting all the CO2? Are we going to blame China for all that? Or are we going to blame ourselves for buying all the crap and shipping it halfway across the world?
So then now that brings it back to the music.
Now you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I do. You were out on a limb there for a bit, but you brought it back really nicely.
The problem is, people think music is free.
Yep.
And thanks to Apple Music, and thanks to Spotify, and thanks to streaming, and thanks to technological changes, I know people who just... The idea of buying music is so alien to them when they can go on some illegal streaming service and get it for free. Films, free, downloaded from... You know who funds those sites? You know what that happens when those sites earn money from those free downloads? It's human trafficking, it's vice, it's all the really awful stuff that happens in the world. It's organised crime, and it boils my piss having had to deal with it for so long in a previous life. So please don't download stuff for free off sites, because it's not good, right?
Very good.
Buy your stuff from a credible source. So, calming down again. People just need to understand that music is an art form, and if you want to consume it, you should pay for it. But I just wonder if that ship has sailed in popular culture. So the best option is for people like Tom to do their own shizzle.
Yeah.
And lots of people will buy Tom's record because they like Tom and they want to support him.
Yeah.
In the same way that Brothers Landreth have done it, in the same way that Josh Smith does it, in the same way that Kurt Fletcher does it. You know, big record deals now really only exist for your Taylor Swifts, and nothing, not taking anything away from those artists. But that model of gaining your own fan base might be fewer people, but they're willing to buy merch from you. You know, TPS is a really small example of that. They're willing to buy merch from you. They're willing to contribute to your Patreon. They're willing to do things that don't involve some giant corporation taking 99.999% of your money.
Yeah.
Now, it used to be that the record industry was structured in such a way that it was a funnel, right? There was a relatively small amount of product and it was funneled down a very targeted sales platform to end up at a consumer who was going to buy it. And even though the bands didn't get paid perhaps as much as they should, they did get paid a lot if you sold a lot of records.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you only needed one hit record to buy your house in Notting Hill and your holiday home in Barbados. But that, I mean, you know, those days are over, really, aren't they, for most normal artists? So, yeah, I think building that model, building the self-funded model of where you are in direct... so, on the one hand, we've got the evil internet, which is giving stuff away for free and people are only too happy to take it. And then on the other hand, we've got the very benevolent internet, which is I can develop a fan base and sell to people who will buy it from me.
Yep. For me, a really good example is Marillion, and the way that their fan base is so supportive, and they do, you know, they do fantastic things. Like every couple of years they'll do a like a big weekend, you know, somewhere. Actually, Tin Spirits supported them on their a weekend in Holland at one of the centre parks. They do it. I think 1 year they do it in Holland, 1 year they do it in Canada, I think. And they'll take all their merch there and they'll pre-sell, you know, there's like 4,000 tickets or something.
Yeah.
And they will like Kickstarter for all their albums, and everything's funded by their fans, and they've been really clever about it.
It's a direct connection with a smaller group of people.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
And
the first thing I did when I saw Tom, and I was just blown away from it by him. First thing I did was buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, it's the most direct, you know, buying someone's merch it's the most direct way of supporting someone. So if you really like an artist, there's an artist, Natasha Khan, known as Bat for Lashes. I think she's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm buying her merch at the moment, you know, because it really helps.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, what I think is really important, musicians, artists, so creative. But there seems to be this, you know, this imagined barrier about being creative with business. It's like
with commercial.
commercial.
Yeah.
It's like it's evil. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
I want to let someone else handle this. No, you can actually be really creative about the way that you run a business. Use, you know, artists are creative people. You can apply that creativity to that as well.
I do think on the flip side of what I've just said, it equally annoys me when artists think that somebody owes them something.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I've made this music, you should buy it. And it's like, well, I'm only going to buy it if I like it. So, you know, being awesome is probably step one to being able to, you know, monetize or earn money from your art.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. But yeah, I think making that direct connection with your fan base is the way that it is currently. And I would assume somebody said in the comments, you know, touring and gigs is the way that artists are earning most of their cash now.
Yeah.
Quite possibly, especially if you can get enough people in.
Yep.
The good news is, I guess, those traditional gatekeepers, the music industry in one respect has been completely revolutionised in the way it works. And in many respects, that has not been good for artists. But in many, many, many other respects, it's been really, really great for artists, because there are so many artists that would never even have got a look in before. And now you've got the internet as the platform to get out there. So, yeah, I mean, clearly the streaming thing, and you know, I'm no fan of Spotify. I really, really am no fan of Spotify. I think the way they treat their artists is risible. And the illegal stuff is a whole other world of there's just nothing good about it. But within that is the opportunity to connect and sell direct. So I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, Monaco says truth bullets being fired left and right, and then directly after that, Luke says guitar and pedals talk, please.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. Yes, you're probably right. Let's move on. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully all go and buy Tom Bookovac's record. That's the way to do it.
Buy a t-shirt. That's
the way to do it. Okay. How many have we got more? Afternoon both. Says Pet Moxie. Afternoon both. Brent Mason signature Telecaster into a 68 custom Princeton reissue Silverface.
Yes.
I'm looking to swap out the stock speaker. Hit me.
Gold. Is it 10-inch?
I think the 68 custom is probably a 12-inch.
Okay. Blue.
I don't know. Yeah. Never heard a Celestian Gold sound bad in anything.
Yeah.
They are blimmin' expensive.
But when we put our Princeton through those golds, it was just like, it's just magic.
It is a 10, yeah, it's a 10.
10, Celestian Gold.
Yeah, would be a good shout.
Yep.
Check out some of the Eminence stuff. They do quite a high efficiency 10-inch that Matt Schofield used to use in his 4x10 cabs.
Right.
I can't remember what that's called. It depends which way you want to go with it. If you want a bit more headroom and the bottom end not to fart out so much, then get a speaker that can handle a bit more power with a bit more efficiency. If you want to drive the speaker a little harder and you want more speaker fart and flab, then get a lower efficiency speaker with lower power handling.
Yep, totally.
Don't worry. I mean, I don't know what the Princeton is, like 12, 15 watts or something, so you could happily put a Celestian Blue in there if that would fit. Do they do... Yeah, they do a G10 Blue, I think.
Yeah, but if it's 10-inch speaker, I'd still go with the gold.
Yeah. There you go then. That's what we're going to say. Sorry, it's not a more cost-effective answer. Alex Linden. Linden. My eyes are giving up. London. Alex, sorry. He says, some of my favourite TPS is the Japan Boss videos. I watch them often. Do the people...
I watched the Japan one a couple of weeks ago. Oh man, it was I just loved that trip. It was so good.
I'm never going to forget Japanese Danish Pete singing karaoke in that bar.
And Rabia.
Yeah.
What was he? It was like doing the commentary on that guy singing. It was just genius.
Yeah.
So funny. And I don't know, you don't remember it, but you, me and Rabia at a metal bar, headbanging.
I absolutely don't remember.
And I've got video of us doing it. It's just so good. And Rabia with stank face going, oh, just awesome.
Yeah, no,
so good.
Literally not there anymore. He says, do the pedals you got there get a lot of use? I don't think we've seen them much.
That's a really good question.
You put this delay sampler on your board.
I did. It had loads of use.
Yeah, I use the Eric Johnson Fuzz Face from time to time. I don't love it as much as the one that I had before that. And I love the blue one so much. Should get it out again, really. Yeah. Because it's all contextual, isn't it?
Yeah.
What else did you get? You got the DS2.
I got the BF, which is great. I got the BF1 flanger, which I dropped. I've got to look at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Broken.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for watching those videos.
Yeah, fun trip. That was a fun trip.
Amoeba Teen says, hello gents, I'm building a new board to go with my Tele and AC15. I have a hot cake and a purple plexi.
Hello.
What about a third gain stage?
I would go something like purple plexi is killer.
Yeah. Love pedal, that's it is, by the way. Oh god.
Yep. As is that
was nearly Curtis
the hot cake. I would
you want something boosty, don't you?
Yeah, you want something sort of cleany, boosty. You could even just do an EQ pedal with that lot. What's the amp?
AC15.
Oh, okay. ODR1. ODR1's. Or the Lightspeed, Greer Lightspeed, I think would be a killer with that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely something lower gain.
Yeah.
Because you've got so much gain in the plexi and in the
hot cake.
So something boosty.
Yeah.
Would work. What would I use that's boosty?
Oh,
like an
Bad Bob boost.
Yeah,
Analog Man Bad Bob boost. That thing is lovely.
that will give you a sizzle if you want.
Yeah.
If you want that kind of thing. If you want like just a fatter boost, something like a J Rocket Archer Klon type
Yeah.
would do you good.
Very good.
Yeah. Let's see. Giovanni Botta. Giovanni, hello. He says, D&M, I tried a 77 Fender-made Music Man, Leo Fender-made Music Man Stingray, here in Brooklyn, and I loved it. Nitro finish, active electronics.
Yeah.
Opinions?
Well, that's the bass, right?
No, it's at the guitar.
They made it
The guitar version, yeah.
in 77.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. Well,
think so.
amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they're so good.
I think they did make them back then. Just to see if Mr. Google knows. Or Mrs. Google. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I've only ever seen the basses.
There you go. That's one there.
Oh, wow.
There's one for sale on Reverb here for £1,250.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
it's,
fantastic.
Electronic Bay, eBay. I shall share this.
Bay of Hopes and Dreams.
I shall share this with the group.
Okay. Michael, share it with the group. It kind of looks like an Ibanez Roadstar. Just sort of bent out of shape a bit. Which were my favourite Ibanez. The old Roadstar series.
Ibanez is the correct plural, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you. Such a fine line between clever and stupid.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've never played one. Never played one. The active electronics will be interesting for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Other bunch of tones available there. Nice. Congrats.
Well done, mate.
Oh no, you played it. I didn't say you bought it. I can imagine that sort of thing has probably leveled out in terms of value, so unlikely to lose or gain too badly on that.
Sure.
I would have thought. Not that it's all about the cash, but sometimes, you don't want to lose loads of money. Rodrigo Guaspari from Brazil, or Guaspari perhaps, Rodrigo. He says, hi, about the last show. Dan says the signal is treble boost, split, side 1, page, matchless, side 2, lazy J. But the diagram shows the split before the treble boost, which is only going to the lazy J, which is the truth. I think you'll find there was both.
There was both.
So,
yeah,
you explain it. It changes.
It changes. I'll go back and double check the diagram, but there, I was changing it. I had a few different signal paths set up so that you could hear the difference. And to be fair, a lot of the time the difference was slight, but it was more of a difference with how it felt than anything. Sometimes the differences were more obvious than others. Oh, we're going to do a puppet show.
Here is a treble booster.
If I told them once, told them 1,000 times.
Here is a page.
Spinal Tap first, then the puppet show.
And we're going to say this is our splitter, even though it's not our splitter.
Okay.
So, in version 1 of the deal, you've got both pedals going to both amps, and the splitter goes there.
Exactly.
Right, so we go guitar, treble booster, page, splitter, both amps. What happens next is splitter, page, matchless, treble booster, Princeton, or
Yes.
J.
Yep.
So we move the splitter, which means the overdrive pedals can go on to different amps, but when it's here, they can't. They can only go to 1 amp.
But there's also there. So
Did you do that?
Well, I don't think they did it in the video, but there's also the option of doing that.
Yeah.
So the treble booster goes into into the matchless, and then into that treble booster straight into the J. But no. Yeah. Diagrams are right, I think.
I think they were.
Yeah.
I spent enough hours going, oh my God, I hope I got this right. Hope that explains it, Rodrigo. And if it
That's
is,
a killer treble booster.
if it is a mistake, our apologies.
Check this out. It's my old Keeley Java boost. I love this thing.
That's my favourite one. That
This thing.
you'd come back a bit.
There you go. And it's quite rare because it also has a DC input on the side. And Robert said he didn't do those very often because the DC caused so much problem. But I love the OC44 transistor in it. So good.
Dan is saying that has an OC44 transistor, just in case you're not picking that up.
Yeah, it's
and
wonderful.
it was quite rare because it had a DC. It's my favourite one, that one.
Yeah, it's killer.
Albus Band, Aaron, hello. Nice to hear from you. He says, my dearest end legs. The show on Saturday went superb and the TPS attire adorned. Thanks.
Well done, mate. Thank you.
Mick, hope your gig was good. And Dan, your open was on fire last week. Your opening was on fire last week.
Thank you,
my
mate.
love. And
Thank
to you.
you.
Yes, it was. Gig was great. Thank you. Really enjoyed it. Hope yours was good too. A Joseph 86 says, gents, I'm looking to pick overdrive, strap through a Princeton. I want 3 of the following: Lightspeed, J-Rocket Melody, KOT, OCD, Archer, EP Booster,
Good Lord.
TS808, mostly blues. So 3 from that list.
Got to have a tube screamer. The 808's a really good shout, actually. It just puts the frequency in the right spot if you're playing mostly blues. That's an absolute prerequisite.
KOT, OCD, Archer, EP Boost, Melody Drive, Lightspeed.
EP Boost is a great shout for the boost side of things, but so is so. You go. Too many.
OCD,
Too
808,
much.
and Klon for me, Archer.
Yeah, got to have the clon in there.
So what you've got there with the OCD is your sort of full range
Yeah.
overdrive.
Yep.
Although it is pretty mid-hump, to be fair, but it's more the Tube Scream is great because it will roll off some bass.
Yeah.
And in that Princeton, if you've got it cranked, you're going to need that. And the Archer is great because it just gives you that little upper mid-range kick and again rolls off a bit of bass. So happy days.
Yep.
That's what I'd go with.
I concur.
Music Therapy Laz, hello.
Yeah, mate.
Leg Ends. I recently got a Carvin VL100 Steve Vai Legacy Head using the 2 notes capture and cab. Sounds glorious.
Excellent.
Any cabinet suggestions?
Find the cabinet that goes with the amp. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a good sounding Marshall 4x12 or even 2x12 cab. I don't know. I remember the Carvin cabs. I thought sounded great with those things.
Yeah, it depends how much space you've got, I guess. 412s are largely unmanageable for most of us now. I mean, if you can get a 412, happy days, but they're pretty hard work, aren't they now, 412s?
Yeah.
I don't really carry one around anymore, certainly couldn't.
Your new flipping
I
thing. What
just
is that?
bought one, obviously, that's a different thing, but...
The monster.
That's for TPS band, and that is a different animal. But normal gigs, 212. I would get a Mesa Recto 212.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic sounding 212. A lot of money, but really, really brilliant sounding 212.
Very good.
Certainly really good with, I'm guessing if you've gone with the Carvin, you like your gainy sounds.
Yeah.
And it'll just hold on to everything really nice. The Mesa Recto 212. A lot of money, but really fab sounding cab. Good luck. Reza Reza El Ghazi. Sorry, my eyes are starting to give up, getting tired. Please add this to your beer fancy hat budget jar. Thank you for the most excellent weekly guitar nerd semi ASMR relaxing toned. Thanks.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, Reza.
You're so welcome.
That's
Thank
very
you, mate.
kind of you. Coily Cables, says Ian Glencross. Is it just the extra length, or do they have some other effect on tone?
What's that?
Coily Cables.
Oh, yeah. Well, big coil of wire.
Yeah, so the cable is longer, so you get more capacitance from that anyway, or it might not be longer, but if it's that long coiled, it's...
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's if you actually coil...
There's very little current in it, so it's really, I guess theoretically it will be acting as an inductor, but there's so little current in it that it's going to have very little effect. But it's such a, enough of a core going in that, they do sound really, really dull. So, for that reason.
Yeah, again, and so Dan's using a pejorative term there, or I assume he is, dull not being a good thing.
It depends on the rig.
Quite, that's my point. So if you've got, a Tele and a super reverb and you really like the cut the bright switch gives you, but you really hate that fizz on the top, as I do, coily cable, nice long coily cable could be your answer.
So Josh from JHS had some coily cables made and left a couple with us.
Yeah.
And some things it just sounds fantastic on.
Yeah.
Some things are like, where's my tone going?
That one's got way less capacitance than my Fender coily cable.
Interesting.
Which I had to use for the Jimmy gigs, obviously.
Interesting. So I wonder if that's...
Not least because it was white.
I wonder if it's just it's a thinner core.
Yeah.
The distance between the core and the shield has a massive effect. Anyway, stuff.
Yeah, it all part of the tone soup. Too much onion, it's onion soup. Not enough onion, it's not soup.
Okay, very good.
Or, insert and subtract ingredients as
onion
you see
tea.
fit. Yeah.
I don't want this.
I don't want this. September Fire. Let's see if we've got a super chat from you. Yes, greetings from El Paso, Texas. We've already done this one. So good. On the Rolling Jazz Chorus front. Happy days.
Excellent.
Why is El Paso famous? Is it in a song?
It's all I know about El Paso is that the area code is 915.
You know that?
Yeah, because I was looking for a name for our 9 to 15 volt converter. So I went into the American thing and I said, what's the area code 915? It says El Paso. So that's what we named our 9 to 15 volt converter, the El Paso.
That's fantastic.
It's a bit sad.
That's probably why I know El Paso, because of your converter.
Oh, okay. Right,
every time I'm searching for a Time Lord, all I can find is 18,000 El Pasos. Greetings from Crazy Town, which would be Washington, D.C., says Craig Montgomery. Opinions, please. Attenuation, such as in the Tone King, versus power scaling, such as in the Mesa Cali Tweed, versus master volume.
Oh, interesting.
In the Cali Tweed and in the Tone King, the results are quite similar in terms of the tone. Because what you get is... And power scaling is really interesting. I don't profess to understand it. It's not just power scaling in the Mesa either. It's different combinations of tubes. So they might run 4 of the 6v6s in pentode for the full output, or just 1 in triode for 2 watts. So power scaling, I think, is about reducing the internal voltages in the amps, isn't it? So still running everything as it should be, but just reducing the voltage. I think that's how power scaling works.
Yeah.
Something like that anyway.
I've seen so many different versions of it though. Everyone's got their take on it. But generally, the 65 amps have got amazing power scaling in there as well. Dan Bull, shout out to Dan Bull, who's a wonderful guy. Very, very clever.
So
power scaling that thing.
While there clearly are going to be differences between attenuation and power scaling depending on how it's done, the overall picture is somewhat similar, because you're still driving the whole amp and you're getting that extra harmonic content and the sort of caving in power section and all of that you would expect from a cranked amplifier. Mm-hmm. With a master volume, as we talked about earlier in the show today, you're not getting that, because you're not pushing the power section if you've got the master volume down low.
Yeah.
So big difference in terms of tonality between the first two and the second one, and I think the differences between the first two are really all about how well it's done.
Mm.
So we both think that the Tone King attenuators, whether it's the Iron Man that's built into the
So good.
Imperial Mark II, or whether it's the separate Iron Man that we use, we always get a sound out of that we're like, no struggling here.
Yeah.
No sad faces. No, oh God, this is awful. Which we do, as an experience, we do get out of some other attenuators that don't have onboard resonance and other controls. And as always with attenuation, for us anyway, the happiest place is just a bit.
Just a bit.
Because once you stop it right down, it's like, speaker's not moving, my bowels aren't moving. It's not the same thing. So yeah, if you want a crank damp sound, either of the first two, and probably an attenuator. If you want a controllable amp sound, I think power scaling is a really good shout, because you probably don't get a lot of that extra harmonic-y caving in that you get when the transformer's actually caving in.
Yeah, but power scaling gives you valve options as well, right?
Not always.
Okay.
So in the Sir Badger 35, for example, I think it still runs all the tubes. It just gives them less voltage.
So it's, in that sense, it's just attenuating.
But it's doing it with voltage in the amp rather than post speaker.
Okay.
I think we're on cracking ice here. Hopefully the comments section will add in. But yeah, certainly both of the first two very different from a master volume.
Yep.
Depending on the master volume. Do some reading on post-phase inverter master volumes, which is yet another way to skin that cat. Please don't skin cats. Duncan Plexico again. Duncan says, hi, for the wet dry rig, is it the tubes that determines the amp choices? I'm using an EL34 matchless HC30, yes you are, and a 6V6 matchless cold water Canyon. Thank you.
No, it's how you're running the amp. The tubes are a part of that sound, but I could put it this way: if I could use the DC30 as my dirty amp all day long, because the breakup tone of that thing is magic, and use the high watt as the clean amp. Just depends how far up I want to go.
Yeah.
You know.
This is very relevant to a question that's coming in a minute from Matt.
Yeah, so it just depends on. So generally, the way that I would do it is I would use the higher wattage amplifier as the cleaner amplifier. The lower wattage amplifier I would turn up till it's breaking up, and that would be my dirty amplifier. So, you know, and in wattage terms, in actual fact, they're not necessarily a million miles away.
Yeah.
You know,
it's very contentious what you're actually hearing. You know, we know the EL34 sound to be a Marshall sound. We know the EL84 sound to be a Vox sound. But what's also happening in those amps is a bunch of other stuff.
of course.
And for those companies who do make EL34 and 6L6 versions of various amps, Victory's a good example. Mesa did it for a while, where you could swap out 34s and 6L6s in some of the Mark series amps, and I think you can do it in rectifiers as well.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a difference for sure when it's cranked, but it's nothing like the difference between them. So the output tubes themselves are really only one, I would say, relatively small part of the deal.
Yeah.
When the rest of the circuit is the same. But of course, what we're dealing with in an AC30, no negative feedback, cathode biased, forget about everything else, you know, component choice, box shape, all of that. So it's certainly a consideration. And I think perhaps what you're saying is, you know, those classic amp types that we associate with those tube types, and that definitely so.
Yeah,
I think there are some that really sit together beautifully, and others maybe less so. And I think that's all about frequency response.
Yeah, but it's designing the amp to work. a valve in a design will be at its most efficient in a certain design, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cathode bias EL84 amplifiers. What would happen if we put a fixed bias in there to those EL84s?
Well, a lot of modern EL84 amps are fixed bias.
Yeah, so there's going to be a different thing.
A different thing, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And so that's then all of a sudden the sound isn't that amp, isn't that valve. It's the way that the valve is designed and the efficiency around that circuit using that valve.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, all these designs, you know, go back to
the Stone Age.
Go back to Stone Age. You know, these valve designs were in, you know, books when valves first came out, as you know, to help people sell valves. A lot of these designs for these circuits, there's nothing new. You know, some really clever engineers who really know their stuff put these designs together to help people get the most out of the valve amplifiers and the valve circuits. Yeah. So it you know, the valve is definitely a big part of it, but it's, you know, it's more than just the character of the valve. Man, take the blue out of the Vox, put a Vintage 30 in there.
Yeah, it's a different.
It's a different amp.
But I guess yes is the answer, Duncan. If you add in all the things that we associate with those tubes and the classic amps that they were part of.
Yep.
Andrew Lovelace. We really hope you're not Andrew, but Andrew Lovelace. He says, "Cheerio, mates. Any 3 amps, 1 for bass, 1 for mids, and 1 for treble, and you can't say double, double, double."
Any 3 amps,
yeah.
1 for bass, 1 for mid. Oh man.
Well, mids is definitely Dumble for me.
Yeah.
And Dumble inspired.
It's either the Wallace or the High Watt for bottom end.
Yeah.
You know, that frequencies that are going to make you feel ill.
Thump.
AC30 for the mids. And JC120 for top end.
Okay, I'm going to go with Ampeg SVT and an 8x10 for the bottom end, and I have seen guitar players do this. I'm going to go with a Dumble Overdrive Special for the mids.
Nice.
And I'm going to go with a Vox AC50 for the high end.
Oh, yes you are. Well played, sir. Well played.
You've heard an AC50, haven't you?
I had one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I had an old grey panel AC50. And I had a friend in Ireland, and I said, "Oh, you know, I'm thinking of selling the amplifier." He goes, "Oh, okay, definitely buy it." And then I got cold feet about selling it, and I said, "Oh, I think I'm going to hold on to it." And he got really upset with me, so I ended up selling it to him.
Right. Are they cathode biased?
No, the AC50 is not. I'd modded mine to be cathode bias.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, cracking sounding amplifier.
Yeah.
Really,
nice.
really great.
And finally, Matt, who opened our questions, is going to close our questions.
Oh, Matt.
To just follow up on that whole discussion. He says, so, you're not always going to be splitting before you add pedals. Is it that you have one amp that sounds perfect as it is and you do as little as possible to change it, adding and subtracting from the other to taste?
No.
That's essentially, though, isn't it?
Okay.
What you're doing is you're keeping the J as unsullied as possible.
I'm keeping the J as unsullied as possible, except for when I want it sullied. It's not that there are no pedals that work with it. It's like there's.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at sullied.
Trying to okay. I've got the J cranked and it sounds magic and I absolutely love it. And that's going to be the core of that sound. However, boosters, treble boosters, you know, EQ, that we're talking before about that, the Neve style preamp, really that transistor, really harsh edge transistor fuzz sounds amazing into the J set like that. There's a handful of things that work really well. What I'm saying is my core tone, that sound of that J20 turned up was like, it's so amazing. But also the way it works with the matchless. So the matchless isn't purely clean. The matchless is turned up, and if I dig in, the matchless gives a bit of that matchless thing.
Pretty much always.
And so the challenge is to get that balance right, because if I had the J20 with a high watt, actually, if I had J20 with, say, a JC120, something impossibly for overhead room, and
It's going to happen.
when I dug in, it just had it would just go. It would be really difficult to balance that up. Yeah, it's just you are right. It is based around that incredible sound of the J, but there will be times, absolutely, when there will be things going into that. It's not about absolutes. It's about, this is really great, I'm going to work with this, and then I find other stuff that works with that sound. What I'm not going to be doing is adding things like modulation and reverbs and stuff into that amplifier. I don't want that.
I'm trying to find a food analogy. So you've got a great plate of food in front of you, and it's all a meal, right?
Indeed.
It's so what you're going to end up with is eating all of the food, and it is a meal, and it's one thing. But you've got a bit of steak and a bit of chips, and you've got a nice green vegetable dish with some salsa verde. But you've also got some English mustard, and you don't really want your English mustard on your salsa verde with your vegetables, or indeed your chips. I would say you want your mustard with your steak, and you want salt and vinegar on your chips.
Okay.
So it's about what do you add to what. It's all the same thing. It's all your guitar sound, but which pedal do you want to hit which amp at what time to give you
the gherkin,
that tasty,
cheese,
sating experience that you want from your guitar tone. And it's all gain staging. At the end of the day, it's just all gain staging.
Yep.
How loud, how much gain, how much response, how much feedback, how much harmonics do you want?
Starting from here.
Yeah.
You know.
And I don't know, it's at this point you say, just get a telly in a Princeton and go and play some music.
There you go.
Because we are, disappearing up our own buttholes, aren't we, with all of that.
And don't think, the thing is, it's a concept, right? Don't think too much about it. Just try stuff out. If you've got an amplifier that crank like that is like, that you can use as a core tone, amazing. You can split and go directly into that, don't use anything else into it, and then it's another amplifier with a couple of delays and stuff. Awesome. It's just a concept to try out.
And the point of confusion, Matt, is possibly that G3 is the clever box that can do all the switching and splitting at different points, whereas if you've got it hard cabled, it's much more difficult to do all of that. So that might be where the confusion comes from.
Yeah, I mean, that was just to show that where I was splitting, but a simple splitter, and you can just experiment with it and, find some amazing sounds. I'm so taken with it.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Matt. We're going to leave the last question to Luis Besa Machado, which I will try to answer quickly. Luis Besa Machado says, I have a 2-Rock Studio Pro 50.
Nice.
I indeed had a Studio Pro 50. It's a very clean amp. Is it possible to get a good point of breakup sound? If so, do I have to crank it up? Right. What you've got on that amp is you've got a gain knob. Turn that gain knob up. You've also got a pull on the mids. Pull that.
Yes.
That'll give you quite a bit more gain in the mid-range. The effects loop, if I'm correct, is always active in that amp, and you've got a return level on the back. So what you can do is you can turn that down a bit, crank that front end gain, pull the mid, hit it. It should overdrive quite nicely. Not heavy overdrive, but it should overdrive in quite a dumbly way, actually. I loved my Studio Pros. I had a 35 and I had a 50. I love those amps a lot, and you can definitely get it to overdrive. Just turn the master down, turn the gain up, pull that mid out, and experiment with the effects loop return level on the back there, just to make sure that you're not too loud.
Very nice. Very nice. Well done.
Good. Hope you enjoy that.
Yep.
Thank you for being with us, everybody.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Long one today, but that was fun.
It's always fun.
It's always fun.
Isn't it? It's great to chat. Apologies,
especially post-gig.
For my little rant there, but sometimes it happens.
No, it's good.
Fridays,
Passion.
yeah. Friday show
Too much passion.
is a sort of leap into the partially known, because Doug's playing the drums, me and Dan actually I'm playing the bass, and Dan's playing the guitar, and we're trying to talk about gain in the context of a very simple band mix.
Indeed.
And it's really interesting, actually.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, I started to do the audio this morning, and it's like, oh, okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So happy days. Hope you enjoy that.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic week. See you at the show on Friday, and then see you back here on Monday.
Indeed.
BCQ.
Thank you. It's time for Meat Feast, Daniel.
Indeed. Play us out.